So on that side of things,
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another match preview show on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie, and I'm your host for this evening. We are approaching match week 33 as Liverpool will be facing Leicester City at what is it? The Walker Stadium? What are they called now? King Power Stadium, isn't it? I was calling
Oh
Walker
yeah,
Stadium.
yeah, yeah. Not,
Yeah,
not,
so they've changed the
not
name of
Filbert,
it. Yes.
not Filbert Street no more, bro.
And plus, because it's WrestleMania weekend, I thought it's only right that I'll bring in my co-partner here, who we can talk about football. Plus, we can transition and quickly talk about wrestling tonight as well, and that is Double D. Double D, welcome to the show. How you doing today?
Big up, bro. Always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure. We're here, bro. Just getting closer to number 20. You get me?
Yeah, let's crack on. So, in the last 7 days, we've had some good news. I think the last time we did a show, I think me and you were quite uncertain in terms of what the future holds for our star players in terms of Van Dijk, Salah, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Thankfully, Richard Hughes
I think
and
we
Michael
thought,
Edwards
man.
have done something,
Yeah.
and they've managed to provide contract extensions for 2 out of 3 of the players. So, of course, Mohamed Salah was announced last week,
Mhm.
and then Van Dijk was announced yesterday. So, just give me your thoughts in terms of the contract extensions. Are you pleased? How do you feel about the announcements that have come in the last 7 days?
Obviously, with him being the youngest, you would in terms of like future proofing, you would have wanted Trent obviously as well, but he looks gone from time. I didn't like expect anything on that front, but yeah, Salah one, very happy because though obviously it's about like again to use the word future proof and being like ready, and we've not necessarily got though I think we spoke on the last one about how we thought Chiesa should get more of a chance. You can't deny a man, though he's called off, you can't deny someone that leads the league in goals and assists, you get what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
the fact that he's called off in like the last, I think it's only 4 goal contributions in the last 8 games, but he's still top of both. Just because he's broke the record now, hasn't he? From that assist to Diaz, he broke Thierry Henry's record in what that was the 2002 to 3 season, isn't it?
Yeah.
When Man United won the league. So at least obviously he's got most goal contributions now, and we're about to wrap up this title. So nice, obviously, to win the league in regards to doing that as well. So yeah, very pleased about that. And obviously he keeps himself in good shape. I don't see him maybe obviously not hitting like 30 this season like he could. He's only a couple goals away, but I see at least 20 again. He'll get goals in Europe and whatnot, and yeah, it was vital. He doesn't want to leave, so why make the guy leave? I think it was agreed, and then obviously Virgil obviously this week as well was nice, but Virgil was more transparent than Mo was, that he, in terms of wanting to stay and wanting to love the club. We know Mo loves the club, but he said back from what was it, September, late August, so he said when we played Man United, he was like, oh, there's like his last game at Old Trafford and whatnot. So the story that he was telling was like,
He's more out than in. That was his
you know what I'm
catchphrase,
saying?
wasn't
Yeah,
it?
that's the one, isn't it? More out than in, and then even Slot made a joke about it.
Yeah. The
Slot made a
announcement
joke
is more
about
in
it.
than
Yeah,
more in than out.
more in, more in than out. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, good to see Slot's got jokes in it. Not quite Jurgen levels, but at least obviously there's some humour there. You get me? So yeah, no, I'm happy, but there's still more to be done. It's mad because obviously like the league's about to come, but there's still like we still need a couple players, man. We still need a couple players to make that proper, obviously under Klopp, and then him this season, last few seasons, all but one of them, all but 22, 23, we've been challenging
Yeah.
in all competitions for a good amount of the season. And yeah, there's a couple faces next season. Some people need to go. You know how I feel about Nunes already, for instance. But uh, yeah, no, but obviously, like, I'm happy. But I think it's a case they probably agreed it a while ago. I think it was just about in terms of the incentives because it looks like they're both in terms of like the flat rate in terms of wages is roughly the same
Yeah.
they were on before, don't considering their age. But I don't
Yeah.
think because I know that we like to give big incentive for like goal scoring and appearance bonuses and that. I don't think
Bonuses. Yeah.
those are as high. And then in terms of the length of the contract as well, they've agreed on 2 years. Maybe they may have one in three, but
Yeah.
yeah, so that's fine. And obviously now with them into their 30s, if at the end after these 2 years is truly the end, us as Liverpool fans can accept it better. But if the players don't want to leave, this should have been done much earlier. But I
Yeah.
think Robbie Fowler said it. Was it on Amazon? I can't remember if it was on Amazon or what when he said it. But I think it was Amazon actually before we played PSG, and he was saying that he thinks that it was agreed a bit ago. But he was saying, obviously, in terms of the fact that they know that Trent is looking to jump ship, that if they announced it earlier on, it would look
Yeah.
bad. So obviously, wait till now because you wouldn't like to think a team of our name, of our caliber, would take that much of a risk with more than
Yeah.
one player. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Leave it this late, but they're staying. So either way, is what it is, isn't it? So
It
the
is what it is. Yeah. I
yeah,
think the timing is key because with Trent's sort of speculation of him jumping ship and potentially joining Real Madrid, that happened, I believe, in March, where it was during the international break. So
mm,
that kind of came out of nowhere because we weren't really expecting to hear any sort of announcements. Of course, after the January window, you do sort of get a bit of an inkling that a player has discussed terms with another club because they were able to do that from January onwards. So I think in terms of timing, I think the club probably wanted to do it around this sort of time or maybe even closer to the end of the season. But I think the timing was fine in terms of it being Salah first, 'cause I felt like kind of caught everyone off a bit off guard. To be fair, I wasn't expecting an announcement last week. I was on vacation, so for me it was just like, oh bloody hell, Salah's signed. So I got to do an impromptu show now because there's no way I can't talk about it. I wasn't.
did you
I
take
didn't bring my
did you take your laptop with you though?
no, so I didn't even bring my laptop with me. So I did it all on my phone. So I'm thinking, do you know what? Like nothing's gonna happen. But when I was there, I did say to my missus that, oh, I have an inkling that they're gonna announce something like, and I was like, I should brought my laptop. But anyways, they still did an impromptu show. But I'm just pleased that Salah has been signed as well as Van Dijk. 'Cause I feel like people underestimate the importance of Van Dijk in terms of what
Yeah,
he has brought to the club since he joined in 2018. So
yeah,
for me, these two deals were the easy deals to get concluded. So
yeah,
I've said it to you in the past when Richard Hughes slash Michael Edwards, because I'm not actually entirely sure who did it. I think that they both do it as a collective. So
mm,
I will give them credit for getting the job done, but I don't think it was, rocket science to get these two players on new
yeah.
contracts. It was,
Because they
the
wanted to
players
stay.
have
It's not
this,
how much the convincing was there to do. They
yeah,
wanted to stay.
they
So
didn't
you
have to
get what
do
I'm
much
saying?
convincing, but I think you might be spot on in terms of the contract because previously it would have been where they earn flat rate plus it might have been incentivized by bonuses, whether it's on the pitch or whether it's like an individual related sort of bonus. Now they've got 400K a week, is I believe what they'll be earning. So they'll still have their bonuses, but
Mm,
it's probably for Salah, it's a slight increase. And I think for Van Dijk, it's a bit more of a larger increase. So they're both being paid and rightly so. They deserve to earn that sort of salary bracket
mhm,
for what they produce over the years, and they're not young players, so they established. So for me, they were entitled to demand that kind of salary as well as a 2-year contract extension. I think they probably wanted longer, if I'm being honest, but I think 2 years is probably the the fair sort of conclusion for both parties, for the club and for the players, where if we touch those 2 years and both these two players are still performing like they are currently,
mm.
we can give them another extension. It's just
Yeah,
that you kind of have to protect ourselves in terms of, what if they somehow dip in form or they've picked up an injury and they're not showing the same form. So you have to kind of protect yourself in terms of the club, and you're not just giving big contracts away because of who they are. So I think a 2-year contract for both of them is a fair deal. I don't like you said it wasn't a rocket science or deal to get done. It was quite easy to conclude. I will give them credit because I have said to you in the past that when they've done something well, I will give them credit. But I think that's half of the job. The second half of their job, for me to give them credit, is that they need to find the Van Dijk and the Mohamed Salah successor from this summer window. I feel like
Yeah,
we need to sign those players from now on because there's no point of us, continuing to play the way we are and then wait for their contract extension to expire basically in 2 years' time and then find their successors. You're
yeah,
better off signing those players now, getting them accustomed to the league in terms of because they might be foreign players, they might not be within the Premier League. So if they're from another league, get them used to the English culture, get them acclimatized to the way we play, to the speed of the Premier League, and they can learn off Van Dijk and Mohamed Salah. They're learning off from the best. So they've got mentors when they come in to the club. So for me, that is what you call smart recruitment, where you've appointed their sort of future successors, but they're already in house. So when they
yeah,
do, the two players do eventually leave in the future, there is no transition period. It's just,
yeah.
you're the guy now.
They're already bedded in. I understand how
They're
things
already
work.
bedded in.
They
So
know the
imagine
squad.
us,
Yeah,
signing players when their contract finishes. It doesn't matter who they are. We could get the best centre back and the best right wing in world football at that time. It's a lot of pressure for them to fill in the boots for the likes of Van Dijk
yeah,
and Salah because for us they are probably arguably one of the best players in their position in our club history, and that's probably a debate for another day. So for me, I feel like if they were to sign their successors this summer, then I feel like the club have done a great job. If it's just contract extensions, I'm content, but I'm not sort of enthusiastic about the future because I feel like that's the trick that they've missed if they don't sign those players in this window. Because there has been a lot of sort of discussions and little comments from media outlets or certain journalists on social media in the last 2-3 weeks where we've been told that Liverpool are going to have a big summer. So whether that is a lot of outgoings or there's a lot of incomings, that's quite uncertain. But today, Arne Slot did a press conference, and I think he denied it being a big summer. The way he spoke. So my question for you is: do you think he's telling the truth, where he only wants to get one or two additions to the squad, or do you think he's managing expectations? Because let's be honest, if you're saying out loud that yeah, we're gonna have a big summer, we're gonna buy lots of players, then the players that you're interested in, their transfer fees become inflated. Those clubs start adding 10 million on top of the actual valuation. So it ends up being a bit of a tricky situation for Liverpool to get the players that we've, shortlisted for the summer. So do you think he's just bluffing and just trying to say, oh, we only need one or two additions, but in reality, it's going to be about 4, 5, 6 new additions that we see in this summer window?
Well, today was the first. Usually, even
Mm,
if I don't see it live, I'd watch the presser within
yeah.
a few hours of it happening. But today's the first time that I've not watched the presser on the actual
Mm,
day for God knows how long. It's definitely the first time this season. So I didn't even know that till you said, because a couple of weeks ago he initially said that he thinks it's going to be a big summer. So now
yeah.
obviously after the contract paid it down. So hopefully he's bluffing. But
Yeah.
knowing the way FSG flex, he could be telling the truth, bruv, because after we won the
Mm,
league in 2020, what did we do? We got Thiago in.
yeah.
Um, and who, I'm struggling to think of what other business we did apart from
No, you're right.
you get me getting him in the mean, and then obviously then the injuries came, and then we ended up getting him Kabak and Phillips
Yeah.
and Reese Williams and all them manner to play at the back of them thing there. So you never
Yeah.
actually know with FSG. They've made the club stable. All the commercial deals, like what you anytime a Liverpool game's on, or even any, you're going to see the Nivea adverts. You know about a partnership with Vauxhall, Dunkin'
Yeah.
Donuts, all these things. Is it Western Union or whatever? It was all we had at the stage. They were on the sleeve and all them to get the stage. All these
Oh,
different things.
Expedia is the one
So
they had on the sleeve.
Expedia's another one as well. I'm sure we
Yeah.
had Western Union at one stage, but even so, as you said, Expedia, there's numerous.
Yeah,
things that we've done. So in terms of revenue and whatnot, club calm, even though I think there was some losses recently, but
yeah,
we want them to put in that bit more. We don't want to be spending money, stupid money, Man United levels, but certain times we're just thinking you've got a window here because there's no guarantee that next season Manchester City are going to immediately be back on it. I expect them to be much improved,
yeah,
especially if injuries with Rodri back, though it takes a bit of time to get back after a ACL. And even if he wants to
right,
have a good season, like what we saw with Virgil, you might have a good season, your first immediate one back, but then the
yeah,
season afterwards it could catch up with you. So yeah, City better, you'd think now. With Arsenal, with the new sporting director, with Berta in there, that they'll probably
yeah,
finally get a 9. Um, don't know about Chelsea though. I think Chelsea would have been more of a threat this season if they'd get Poch rather than get in
yeah.
Maresca. But
They'll
we'll,
still spend money though. They've already,
yeah,
I think,
oh,
signed up two
they'll
deals
always spend.
already.
Yeah, 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 and they'll find some youngsters and probably
Yeah,
sell like Renato Vega. Though a midfielder was playing left back for them, he's on loan at Juve now. They'll probably sell him
yeah,
for more money
yeah,
than his market value, and then be able to go again in the market. So there's no
yeah,
guarantee with the following season is going to be like his predecessor.
yeah,
Arsenal fans thought that if City come off and like Tanga, they'd be up to win the league, but we're about to win the league. So we've got
yeah,
opportunity, a window to be able to create a team that can challenge again till the very end. So they need to take advantage of it. But I don't know exactly what the plans are. And their excuse will be because they can't go as hard as they want to because they've given these players new contracts.
yeah.
Even
That's
though,
my concern. I'm not gonna lie to you
so,
because us fans, we are getting happy that Salah and Van Dijk have signed new contract extensions, but until the summer doesn't conclude, we won't know at what cost because FSG can spin it around and say, well, those extensions were part of the budget of the transfer budget. So it's like you've already eliminated that aspect, and then
yeah,
like you said, Arnstad did mention a few weeks ago that we're gonna have a big summer, and now all of a sudden he's saying, no, we might not need to do that. We might just need a couple of additions, but this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking in that press conference he did a few weeks ago, I think he kind of jumped the gun and revealed his cards without him realizing.
yeah,
And after that meeting, the FSG must be like, you know what, you need to like manage expectations and tone it down a little bit because if you're telling everyone we've got a big summer ahead of us, then those clubs that were trying to
yeah, they'll
negotiate with, they're
charge
going to
more in it.
increase their
Yeah, yeah,
prices. Yeah.
yeah.
So you have to manage expectations from a financial point of view when you're doing those negotiations,
Mhm.
but also for us fans, because if you're saying big summer, and all we get is one player like we did last year, then I'm going to be on to Richard Hughes all summer. So for me, they have to kind of be very careful in terms of how they communicate. So I do also feel like a lot of our sort of business this summer will depend on outgoings as well. So there's a lot of players that have sort of question marks in regards to a long-term future. I think one or two we can safely say will depart. So maybe like the Darwin Nunes, we all expect him to leave at some point.
Yeah,
Uh Simicast as well, if we're if you believe the rumors, Kirkes, that deal apparently is almost done, if you believe the betting odds and all that sort of stuff.
yeah.
So obviously one left back will need to vacate their position. And the likes of Diaz, who's obviously got contractual situations where they're not on the same page, they haven't extended or they haven't come to terms
And
for a new
and he's
contract.
and he's not on very high wages, is he?
No, he's on
Yes.
50, 60,000, I think,
Mm.
around that kind of range, which for a player of his quality and what other players around him are
Yeah,
earning,
yeah.
he's not in the same boat. So that's a question mark because there's always rumors circulating around Barcelona wanting him, and I think Al Nassr from Saudi Arabia, they are willing to spend 70 million on him. That's the current
Mm.
rumor right now. So there will be interest from Saudi teams as well as other teams as well. You've got Canate, which is a bit of a concern for me that he hasn't signed a contract extension because we do know that a contract has been tabled,
Yeah,
and he did
and
say that it hasn't been signed. So
yeah.
I feel like with Canate,
There
this is
was
just my
there was
point of view.
particular wording that he used, wasn't it? It was like,
Yeah,
offer's been given, whether
I think
he
it's
signs it
been
or not is a
tabled or
different
something
story
like
or
that.
something like that. You get what I'm saying? Rumors he
Yeah.
wants in the excess of 200 a week, which I'm not sure that they'd be willing to give him because I think he's on like
How much
70
is
or
he
80.
earning? Do you
I
have
think
any
he's on
idea?
I think he's on 70 or 80 now. and he wants like 200 between 200 to 220, I think it is. So I'm not sure he's definitely going to get that,
Okay.
which is why these rumors are circulating about him going back to France. Paris Saint-Germain looking
Yeah.
um the most likely. So this
Hmm.
is the thing. Yeah,
I feel like Kanate, the impression I got, because this was around February where he was asked these questions when we did a press conference. I think it was one of our Champions League games as well. I think it might
mm,
have been the PSG one, in fact. And the kind of notion I got was that because other players haven't signed extensions, I think he wanted to know what the direction the club was going at. So
yeah,
if Van Dijk decided to leave, then I feel like Konate might have a bigger decision. Does he stay on? Or if he's been told that you're the guy to replace Van Dijk, then he has a bit more of a leeway to say, if I'm the guy, then you got to give me
yeah,
200K and stuff like that. So I think he was probably waiting on what happens with Trent, Van Dijk, and Salah. I really hope he stays. I know some fans they say that he has these sort of, don't want to be rude, but some people say he has like bozo moments during the
yeah. But
season.
the bozo gene, they call it, innit? Yeah, because
Yeah,
sometimes he thinks he's a little better on the
yeah,
ball than he actually is. Like you saw the other day when we lost to Fulham,
yeah,
just before McAllister's goal, you're just dwelling on the ball, just
yeah,
smash it out of there, man. He's one of those defenders. He like in a 90-minute game, you see 80 minutes of like outstanding defending, and then
yeah.
in the 10 minutes, sometimes not even as long as 10 minutes, maybe like five,
It might just be one
he
moment.
just does some very random things on the ball. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? There's a couple goals. Okay, just in Virgil has his moments as well, but some
yeah, exactly.
there's a part of the fan base that protect him. You get what I'm saying? Like
Mm,
immediately when I saw that own goal on Sunday, I thought, Robbo. Because I saw the replay and actually realized it looks as
mm,
though Robbo calls, but Van Dijk thought he
yeah,
was Superman and just kicked the ball onto Robbo because
yeah,
I knew that Van Dijk realized it was his fault because the way he turned around and Robbo
yeah,
was screaming at him, he knew.
yeah,
So at least he redemption obviously when he got the winner. But Ibu too many times, even like I remember the Chelsea goal, for instance, when we beat them 2-1 at Anfield.
yeah,
He played Jackson on. Just little things like that, which can happen when sometimes, obviously, if the line's going to be high, but like Ibu, just when he irons those out, world class centre back. But until he does, he
yeah,
can't. Like at the best, he's in that bracket underneath at the very best, and he might not even definitely necessarily be in there. But I don't want him to go anywhere. But they're going to have to find a form of appeasement, wages wise.
yeah.
Otherwise,
I think also
mm.
Konate, he's 25 years of age, so he's in centre back terms, he's still relatively young in terms of what
Yeah,
he's.
very not even. Yeah, they say Prime's what 28 in it, so
Yeah,
not.
exactly. So for me, he is gonna have those moments where he, overplays it slightly because all centre backs are. He's not going to be the first. He's definitely not going to be the last either
Mm,
to overplay it slightly or misjudge a pass and gives the ball away. And no centre back is immune to criticism. Van Dijk, I feel like in the last 2-3 games, his form has dipped as well in recent weeks. So
yeah,
for me, if someone hasn't played well, I feel like they are you know we do have to criticize him based on performance related
mm,
sort of situations. But I feel like generally Konate has been one of our solid performers, and in the last two or so years, I feel like he's been overworked as well because of the new role that Trent has adopted, being a more of an inverted fullback. He's pretty much had to play
yeah,
right back and centre back at times during
yeah,
transitions in
yeah,
games, and that can have a toll on someone's body as well, isn't it? So that's going to be sort of important
yeah,
in
good
terms of
point,
what
good
we
point.
do going
Yeah,
forward. And speaking of Trent, let's move on to Trent. So, do you think it's 100% certain that he's leaving? Because I still get some section of the fan base maybe clutching onto something, thinking, do you know what? Maybe because Trent hasn't announced anything, he might have changed his mind. Maybe he'll stay on. What do you see happening? Because I'm not quite so sure that he will stay. I think he's made his mind, and I believe he will be joining Real Madrid next season.
yeah, I think he's going. I think I actually said probably at least 18 months ago that I said I think Trent will leave. And then he
Yeah,
put Liverpool fan that I told him like, oh no, but he's homegrown, he loves the club. He said he wants to win this amount of trophies with the club, but things can change. And then what the straw that broke the camel's back, that even a story came out recently was stated as well, is that he literally made up his mind as soon as Klopp said that he
yeah,
was
he's
leaving.
leaving.
the
Yeah.
way that he was, the way him and Van Dijk were crying. We saw some tears from Salah and whatnot as well. But I remember just like during after Klopp had made that announcement, you saw what happened with the whole Salah and Klopp thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Trent was
um,
balling, to be fair. I remember
the
Van
way,
Dijk crying when
yeah,
he hugged the Jurgen Klopp,
yeah,
but
yeah, Van Dijk
Trent
querying,
was
but
balling
Trent
throughout the
was
whole time.
barring like someone had died, and I mean, and it's one of them. But I get it because it's been like another father figure
Like a
for
power
him,
figure for him.
just like it
Right.
was for numerous other fans.
Yeah, yeah,
Because he
definitely.
wasn't just a manager. You mean he was a man amongst men, as
Of course.
my cousin puts it, because he used to speak out on social issues and whatnot as well. So
Yeah.
especially people that have lost their father or whatever, you get
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they looked at that, not like he could never be their father, but
Yeah.
they would look forward to hearing him talk. You get what I'm saying? So when
Yeah.
that leaves the club, it's not just a manager leaving the club; it's someone that you've taken in to embody something in your life. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
but yeah, the way that he was crying, so I get it because look, I don't think he's anywhere near as bad a defender as some people make out. Like
Yeah.
people go on like Bradley is clearer from defensively, and that is not the case. You get me? If you
Yeah.
think, I'd say Bradley's effort is more consistent because some games Trent looks a little disinterested consistently through the game. But in terms of defensive actions and whatnot, so, but I don't think he's anywhere near as bad defensively as some people say. But admittedly, the role that he has played for Liverpool and obviously that creativity that he has in the team,
Yeah.
certain things that Klopp has asked for him, Slot clearly hasn't. And Slot, whereas Klopp would protect more, Slot will come out and say like, "Oh, I want more from him defensively and whatnot."
Yeah.
Remember the Brentford game earlier on in the season, right at the start rather of the season, Slot took him off and went to the back to go to talk to him, and Trent wasn't looking at him. And it was like type of,
Yeah. I remember.
people putting up the memes like, yeah, you're not my daddy, and all them things that you get me. He clearly wasn't listening to him, and
Yeah.
regularly he's brought Bradley on when Bradley's been fit for maybe the last 20 minutes or maybe even 15 to close the game, just like we've seen in the midfield. Endo coming a lot to close the game. So, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he did make up his mind when Klopp left. It's annoying because he said all those things about how much he wants to win with Liverpool, but I'm not one
Yeah.
in the camp of calling him a rat and whatnot like others do. It would have been
No.
nice because you're leaving your boyhood club if he comes out with a statement, and he still might because there's still time, and
Yeah.
says how much the club means to him. But this challenge will only come around once in his life, so he wants to take it because we know Jude Bellingham has that they're best buds, aren't they?
Yeah. They
And
are.
we were thinking because of how close they are to each other that Trent was going to convince him to join
Yeah.
Liverpool, but then obviously the money
Went the
was
other
too
way.
much. Yeah, we went to Real Madrid because the money, we never
Yeah.
had that money at the end. We don't bar tabling bid for Sachado that I don't think ever was going to happen. You don't see Liverpool bidding over 100 million for a player. So yeah, I
Not all the
didn't
time.
think it was going to happen. But yeah, to an extent, Trent goes with my blessing. You've won everything with the club. You're only 26. You could go to Madrid for 3 years, and if the fans or whatever will take him back and then come back. The thing is that
Yeah.
I don't actually think they're getting him to solely play at right back. I
I
think
put
they
him in
have
midfield, all
no
right.
problem putting him in midfield because you've seen in terms of
Yeah.
the way that they play, and it can be organized chaos sometimes, as they say.
Yeah.
Probably the best oxymoron to describe it without Luke. Modric is still there, but Modric is getting nearer to 40, right?
Of
So
course.
it's one of those ones that without Tony Cruz there, to recycle possession in the midfield, and you can do it sometimes higher up the pitch than some other midfielders who do a similar role um, do that. They've
Yeah.
lacked that. They've lacked that. Like, look how embarrassing that was over 2 legs against Arsenal. Even if it was a case where Arsenal were to knock them out, if Cruz was still there, a lot of
Yeah.
what goes on doesn't happen because in that first leg before Arsenal got those goals, Arsenal were continuously giving the ball away for like the first
Yeah.
half an hour to 35 minutes. Then after that, they kicked into gear and they were excellent in the second half. But Madrid could have, you know what I'm saying? Like with someone in there playing that role, just easing short passes continuously, high pass completion. It could have been a different affair over the 2 legs. So that might be what they get
Yeah.
Trent for, either or, because Carvajal still got at least another 2 seasons left in
Yeah.
him. You get what
And
I'm
he
saying?
can play both roles if required. So it would depend on the sort of games that they're playing.
Yeah.
And I think you're right because the two legs against Arsenal, it was quite evident that they were lacking some of that creative spark. The way they were playing, especially the second leg, was so bizarre because they were hitting long balls. Like they don't have
Yeah.
a
There
tall
was no
striker.
urgency. There was
Who they're
no
pressing it to?
there
So
was no
very weird.
urgency in the short
Yeah,
passing, as you said, and it was going long, and that's bread and butter
yeah,
for Arsenal, even though they have got some
exactly.
injuries at the back. Obviously, Madrid, what
Yeah, yeah,
three of Madrid's back four um
yeah,
were out. But yeah, so it's a it's mad. So yeah, so for me, and he came, and the thing is that he dropped subliminals. He was coming with that Ballon d'Or talk, that defenders bar Cannavaro, but that was because Italy won the World Cup. Defenders don't win the Ballon d'Or. So if you're coming with that talk there, then that is basically you saying that, like, it's a subliminal way of saying that you would have to leave Liverpool to get what you want. So I mean, it's sad, but
yeah,
I get it. Unlike some other fans that he's a snake and whatnot, but I hear them when they're saying that it would have been better that the club got money for it. That would slightly soften the blow. You get what I'm saying? Rather than him walking away on a free and then
yeah.
linking it to McManaman and whatnot. But when McManaman did it, like that was when the Bosman first came into place. You get what I'm
Exactly. It
saying?
was a new thing at the
So
time.
it was a new thing, and Maka was brilliant at Real Madrid. Couple of Champions League, got a league title in 0203, didn't he? And
Yeah,
he was man of the match in that final against Valencia, wasn't he? When they beat in his first season, when they beat Valencia 3-0. So
yeah,
the Trent would have spoken to him, reached out to him in terms of life in Spain and whatnot. I would assume that Trent's brothers would go up there to go live with him as well. So
yeah.
yeah, good for him, bruv. But
Yeah, I think Coleman right. I agree. I think it's a little bit strong, if I'm being brutally honest.
mm,
I understand why some fans felt like that, especially, obviously we're from London, so I know if you're a Scouser, then it might hit home a little bit different because they see him as one of their own, and he's
yeah,
always said things in the past that you're thinking, he'd never go. Like I've seen little clips of old interviews where he's said that, he's never even thought about playing for another club other
yeah,
than Liverpool.
yeah,
And there was he made a comment last year where he was like, "Oh, if Real Madrid want to buy me, they can buy me on FIFA." So
mm,
he said things like that. We're thinking, do you know what? This guy is going to be that loyal player that we expect from someone coming through the ranks, where he's going to be that one man club guy and all that sort of stuff. But it's very difficult for a player to be a one man club guy, in my opinion. It's very, very different because the modern game it's just, there's so much money involved. And I feel like with these sort of players, especially with a lot of English players playing across Europe, I feel like there is an opportunity for them to venture and try a different league or
mhm.
try a different sort of style of football, a new lifestyle.
Oh, I think Aussie's frozen there, mate. I think Aussie's frozen there, but yeah. So let us know in the comments if you think that Trent is a snake or not. Me personally, myself, I do like. I'm not like. I'm just angry, as I just said, in regards to us getting the fee for him because not getting the fee for him because that doesn't help the club. Obviously, he was on decent wages, so therefore, it's one of those ones where will we use those wages or will FSG look to save? Because we've seen in the past that when we think they're going to go hard, they don't actually tend to, and that's why a lot of people are on an FSG outing and have been on the FSG outing for many years. We see the top reds about on Twitter and whatnot with their outcome. I don't agree with certain things that some of these so-called top reds come out with, but yeah, it is what it is. But Bradley is a little injury prone, so I'm not actually sure that he is necessarily um, therefore in place to be the first choice. We've been linked to the likes of Frimpong. They say Livermore, but I can't see him leaving Newcastle. So yeah, well, there
Uh,
he is. Man, like Oz is back.
Sorry, guys, my mind's just going a bit
I was
crazy
thinking,
right now.
what's
Did you
that man
mention
needs in the system?
Livramento?
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm saying that like in terms of who we're being linked to, but I think that's unrealistic. And I view like
Yeah,
Frimpong, for instance, being not even being, but he's at a more wing back. So I'm not actually sure who like definitely we could go and get because I think Bradley, like I know he's good enough and he's still young, so can improve. But
injuries. It's a concern.
injury prone to injuries. I don't know the injuries. Then where does that leave us? What we're going to be after letting Trent go? We're going to be putting Quansah or Jones there. No, Gomez would be that. Keep Joe Gomez at all costs. I might
Facts.
be in the minority with that, but the
No, I'm
utility
on the same
man.
boat as you.
Yeah, he had some games last season where he played DM, which was a mad thing. But a man
Yeah,
that can play anywhere across the back, keep him, man. I think
yeah,
he's just so important. You could just plug him in anytime you want to rest someone. Just plug
yeah.
Joe Gomez in. You get me? So,
And if you believe the rumors as well, with Quansah possibly leaving, you
mm,
don't want to sign because okay, if Trent is going, then the likelihood that we're going to sign, I don't know, it's not confirmed, but we'll probably sign like a young sort of right back. It's not going to be someone of his experience. So it'll be
no,
someone probably under 25, in my opinion. So if we're signing a young right back and then also maybe signing a young centre back to be Van Dijk's successor, that's
mm,
too many young defenders within our back
yeah,
line. So
exactly,
you
exactly.
need to have players like Gomez who,
Yep,
let's be honest, you mentioned Bradley, good player and all that, but what if he picks up an injury? We've got
yep,
no cover for right back. So Joe Gomez can fill in that void when
yep,
required. So Kwanzaa, like, no offense, I don't trust him at right back during the season. One or two games here and there is fine, but you're better off having a player like Gomez who knows
mm,
his role, where he knows, if he's fit, then he is going to be in contention to play because there might be games where we need a defensive minded right back, and he
mm,
kind of fits that bill as well. So he'll certainly get game time, but he's not going to, throw his dummies out of the prime and say, "Oh, I should be playing week in, week out." We know your history in terms of injuries, where you do pick up a few injuries here and there. So I think he'll be satisfied to play that squad role, and
mm,
if he is available, then he can come in and cover the back line. I think his experience is going to be vital. So for me,
yep,
I'm on the same boat as you. Maybe it's us being South London, being a bit biased towards Joe Gomez, but it's not that. It's more so from a football point of view. It's more where he gives us that safety blanket where if a Bradley's injured or if the new right back
yep,
isn't, you know, accustomed to playing the Premier League, or maybe we just feel like he's a bit inexperienced, or if it is Frimpong, because that is the rumor circling right now, he might not suit certain games that we're going to play. For me, I did a show the other day and I felt like with strong rumors about Kirkes and even Hato coming in, maybe we play a different style altogether next season where we
mm,
play with a back three with Hato, Van Dijk,
yeah.
and Konate, and then have
Yeah,
wing backs like a Kirkes and a Frimpong. That makes more perfect sense if you're kind of reading the lines between the
People have
links
said
between
that,
things.
but I don't know if the way that our midfield move
Yeah,
would that stifle part of that the
I don't
midfield?
know. Because the
Would that help
midfield will
Salah?
still be the double pivot, but I think in
Mm,
terms of the attackers, that might be the one where I, because for me it wouldn't work to play a 3-4-3, for example, because there's no point of having wingers when you've got wing backs. I don't feel like
yeah,
that
yeah,
functions really well
yeah,
on that side of the pitch. So if you've got your attackers, they're more sort of like inverted forwards or two number 10s.
mm,
And I feel like with our current couple of players, I might be clutching it, but I feel like it could work. So, for example, the way I envisioned it was for the left number 10 role, it could be Gakpo and it could be Sabozai that play there. And
yeah,
then you've got Salah and possibly a Harvey Elliott if he remains. If not, it'll
yeah,
be, I'm dreaming, but it could be like a Turkey that can play that role there. Yeah, I gotta mention his name somewhere. And then you've got your striker whoever is. So I feel like we have the players ready for that system because with Diaz, he might not be a player that we keep on board. And he's probably the only player right now that is an out and out winger, if that makes sense, like the old school winger that goes down the
yeah,
byline. So
yeah.
I feel like it could work. I might just be clutching here, but with the reports of these certain players being linked with the club, it's a big switch to kind of move that way as well because there's no guarantee that it will work. It does kind of make sense on paper, but I feel like we're on the verge of winning the league.
Mhm.
Had we had a better squad in terms of more players, more depth, I feel like we could have been challenging, for more honors this year. So
Yeah.
I don't feel like we've played bad today, but it might be where Armstrong has a complete different vision and wants to play free at the back, adds more security to that defensive line, and it allows our wing backs to be the creative spark that we had with Robertson and Trent all those years. But only time will tell in regards to how we'll set up next summer. So I'm very intrigued to see what we do in terms of business and all that sort of stuff. But sticking to Trent before we move on to the match preview of Leicester City and Liverpool, Trent has started full training. He's started training from yesterday. He's
Yeah.
trained today, and he will possibly train tomorrow as well. Slot did indicate that he could be available. He didn't say he will start, but he could be available from the bench. Now, what's your sort of thoughts in terms of Trent for the remainder of the season? We feel like he's destined to leave. So, should he still be involved in the first team action, or do you think we should just put him out cold and not involve him at all because he's not committed to the cause, basically?
It's a tricky one, man.
It's a sticky one.
N- if look, Slot's kind of blunt with it still, which is a good thing and a bad thing, as its good aspects as its
Yeah,
negative
pros
aspects.
and cons.
So he would have spoken to him. So I don't think if he's like he'll know already whether he wants to stay or not. You can't we're in April now. He could surely must have made his decision. Slot would have known
Yeah,
about it.
yeah, I agree.
So therefore, if he feels that um, he wants to say goodbye properly and leave with something to remember, like look at KDB for instance. KDB said he's leaving Manchester City, but he's also said since then he feels like fresh, injury free and whatnot. And you might see the renaissance continue. Like last Saturday against Palace, um, which shouldn't help me from an FPL aspect by any means. But anyway, we won't get into that. He looked like the old KDB, but like with the free kick and like obviously creating
Yeah,
chances, shooting and that. So if he's gonna give it his all, Slot will know from talking with him, then yeah, play him
yeah,
because it can only help the team. Like this
true.
season, the thing is that because he's usually the creative hub or
Yeah,
has been the creative hub under Klopp,
yeah,
um, it would seem that he's had an underwhelming season. But we have to remember now he's under a new manager who wants him to be more alert defensively. So he
yes.
has had some good defensive
He was one of
performances.
our best performers, I'll say,
Yeah,
first
to
half of
start
the
the
season.
season.
He
Yeah,
was
yeah,
really good.
yeah, yeah. He was in my team of the season when
Mm,
we did it like halfway through
yeah,
in December. Because though obviously he still created chances and we've not taken them, but though he's obviously not been free flowing going forward, and not necessarily because Slots wanted him to do that. He has
yes.
still, but then Slot has, for instance, brought him into the midfield. Like when we played, we lost to Forest. It didn't work because
Didn't
then
work out.
we had the three at the back in it, and two of the three at the
Yeah,
back were our full backs, and we kept on getting caught on the break. But
yeah,
so, but he's had some good defensive performances.
yeah,
He's had some good defensive performances, and remember, he's been carrying an injury from the Euros.
yeah, he
So,
has.
which also might be a reason why he wasn't flying forward as much anyway. But saying that, I don't
Yeah,
think Slot wanted him to necessarily go forward like that, so we could have more of a control and have a vice grip on some of the matches. So, yeah, if he's going to give it his all, Slot spoke to him, and he's going to give it his all. Play him, let him say goodbye that
yeah.
way. You get me?
I agree. I know there's a lot of fans that have suggested that he shouldn't be involved, like put him out cold. But I feel like that's more of an emotional decision that fans are making rather than being logical. Because for
Yeah,
me, the team is what is important right now. So I know, we've got two more wins and we can wrap up the league. But we've got a player like Conor Bradley who's injury prone. He's just returned from injury. So if you're making him play full 90 minutes just because you don't want to play Trent, you're jeopardizing his fitness long term as well. So
yeah,
I would rather rotate the two where
yeah,
Bradley can start. And if Arne Slot knows that Trent is definitely not staying with the club and decides to play him off the bench, then I'm kind of cool with that as well. As
Yeah,
long as we have the right quality to start those games and try and get the job done. Two more wins, and then from there onwards we can rotate and do what we need to do.
yeah,
But I'm not in the notion that put him out cold because he's not going to extend his contract with us.
mm,
For me, we've got to view it for this season only, rather than thinking too many steps ahead, because we've got to wrap this season up. He has played a part to our success this season.
mhm.
Yes, he's not notched up the high numbers when it comes to assists, but we also some fans also need to remember as well, just because it's Trent Alexander-Arnold doesn't mean that he's going to have different seasons. He's under a new coach. He's been
Yeah,
told to play a different way. He's not going to
adaptation.
play the
Yeah,
Jurgen Klopp way. Jurgen Klopp is not here. He's no longer the
yeah,
coach anymore.
exactly.
So whoever the coach is going to instruct him to play a certain way,
Certain
and
way.
that has actually helped his individual game, where he's been better in one-on-one duels. He's been
Yeah,
better from a more collective, more defensive point of view.
yeah,
So that's why his numbers aren't high, because he's not been instructed to do that. There
yeah,
are games where he's been more of an inverted fullback, and he's tried to, split the defense and all that sort of stuff to try and, break a low block and all that sort of stuff.
yeah,
But he's had a different role this year. So I feel
yeah,
like fans need to switch off, forget what happened in the past, because we've got a
yeah,
new coach, new way of playing. We're not
mhm,
playing the same. We have similar traits, of course we do, but it's not the same philosophy. We're more
yeah,
calm and composed and collected under Slot. It's not heavy metal football. It's not that kind of football anymore. So yeah, I'm on the same boat as you. I think we can't really let emotions dictate what happens for the remainder of the season. If
yeah,
Trent is available, I do feel like he needs to be part of the team. And look, whatever happens, happens. Crazy things have happened in football. What if the guy's like, you know what? Change my mind. I'm gonna stay. A lot of people will need to
which is
be
still a
come off high.
possibility. It's still a
It's
possibility. It's a small
because there's
possibility,
no
but it's
guarantee,
still it's
right?
still a possibility because obviously he could change his mind. I mean,
Yeah,
we could have a Gerard incident with
exactly.
some of the
And
local
remember,
ones and
all
go
the
run
news
up
that we've
on the
been
yard and
getting
that.
is from Spain. It's from those,
Yeah, yeah,
those
he's
outlets.
not been
There's
pushing it.
not
Yeah,
English outlets that have suggested that, oh, he's definitely going to Real Madrid. So you gotta take a picture. So until it's not official,
yeah.
I don't feel like you can just, completely vent out, if that makes sense. So you do have to kind of,
Didn't he do a celebration a month or two ago where he kind of was like kind of was
yeah,
it
yeah,
that
that
or
one, yeah,
whatever? So I'm thinking that like if you do end up going, then what was the point in doing that celebration? So it's going to be interesting one. It's like a
yeah.
flipping WrestleMania storyline, bruv. But we'll get to that later, bruv. You get,
I'll get to that.
you get what I'm saying? Like, what's going on? You staying or not, bro? Just flipping tell
I
us
know,
so we
make your
can
mind up.
get on with next season.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like you
Let us
might
know
see.
where we stand,
You
because
see
right
what I'm
now there's
saying?
too many indirect comments here. Like, just tell us
Yeah,
directly.
but
Are you staying or you going?
or
Like,
man might get booed at the flipping. You get me
parade.
at the parade or something. You get what I'm saying? I mean, when you try
I
lift the
know.
trophy. So yeah,
He'll probably
because
announce it after the parade, to be fair. But I feel like a lot of fans have already made that decision where, he's Judas and, saying all kinds of crazy stuff. But
yeah,
yeah, I'm not. We'll see what happens with Trent Alexander. Until it's not official, we'll just have to wait and see. We'll continue, with the upcoming fixtures. And speaking of fixtures, we've got one coming up this Sunday where we're playing Leicester City.
mhm.
In terms of team news, not too much to reveal, as not a lot has been said in press conferences. So, with regards to Leicester City, Christensen and Buonanotte could be in contention to return to the lineup,
I
but Harry
I don't
Winks.
know. I don't know why he took Buenote out. That guy
Oh,
was getting.
he wasn't playing because he was on they faced his parent club in the last fixture. So
I
that's
know,
the reason why he
but
was.
even recently though, he's kind of used Dakar in
Mm,
because at a stage when Van Nistelrooy first come,
yeah.
Buenote's GA was
Yeah.
going. Like was doing a madness. But then
Yeah.
recently he's kind of played. Even Mavadidi's not been
No.
starting, and he's been using Daka behind when Daka's a striker, but behind Vardy and whatnot. And
Oh,
I don't understand it. El Canus has been playing as well. I
Canucks has
don't
played
get.
a bit more, yeah. You're right about Canucks.
Secretly, I'm cool because I didn't think they gave Cooper enough time, but we know how ruthless football
Yeah.
can be right about now because they were saying some Leicester fans were saying I remember Jake Watson, Leicester fan, who
Yeah.
I worked with when he was doing some stuff for like Talksport too, and what he was saying that Cooper deserved to go at the time of one of his tweets because there was no like style of play, etc. But
Yeah.
can you tell me what Ruud van Nistelrooy's style of
But that
play
was
is?
a bizarre appointment as well, Van Nistelrooy, because he had a bit of a purple patch with his
Mm,
former club, which of course Manchester United, but
yeah,
he was on a caretaker duty. Like,
mm.
sometimes players do respond because the other managers left. So you have that kind of like that new manager bounce, but it
New manager
wasn't to
bounce, yeah.
yeah, it wasn't to suggest that he's the guy to take. Because if he was, then I'm sure
Mm.
United would have kept him on board, right? So it was a bizarre appointment anyway. I think because he's inexperienced in terms of managing the Premier League. Of course, he's a former player, but I feel like if you've sacked someone like Cooper, you probably should have gone for more of an experienced head to
That's
kind
how
of
you
get
know
over the line.
exactly us. You hit the nail on the head. That's why I don't think there was ever
Yeah,
any plan because they sacked
no,
him while Van Nistelrooy was still in the United role.
yeah,
So obviously, it's one of those ones where Van Nistelrooy was basically putting himself out there. Like
yeah,
man was standing on the corner. Don't forget saying he was twerking, saying that like even if you don't want me as the manager, he's willing to stay and be a coach for Amarim. But Amarim wanted his whole staff
whole
in, like
stuff.
people
Yeah,
that he knows. So obviously you sacked Cooper while Van Nistelrooy was still in the caretaker at United, so there wasn't no plan. So they
no,
deserve what they're getting at the moment because it's
facts.
like it's just been awful, but watch
It
them
has.
turn into prime Brazil on Sunday though. You get me?
I bloody hope not. I bloody hope not. In terms of other players, Harry Winks, I don't think he's available. He's on the sidelines,
Mm,
and their Ghanaian winger Fatau, he's not available either. So
mm.
those players aren't available. Bonote, we'll see if he starts. We'll do the predicted lineups very
Yeah.
shortly. In terms of Liverpool, as we just mentioned, Trent could be available from the bench
Mhm.
as he's resumed full training. Nunes could also be available for selection as he wasn't heavily involved in the last fixture. I
Mm.
think he was ill.
Yeah,
I think he
yeah,
had
yeah.
illness
He
or
had a
something like
lot.
that.
Yeah.
So he should be in contention to be involved for this fixture. So what we'll do, we'll predict the lineups. We'll start with the home team, which is Leicester City, and we'll take it from there. And then we'll do a Liverpool lineup.
Yeah,
And then
cool.
yeah, we'll do our little WrestleMania segment as well, which I'm sure me.
I'm ready. We got 2 nights. Bang it out.
So let's bring on the graphic. Let me just present it for you guys. There we go. So yes, I think they'll be playing a 4-2-3-1 formation. Is predominantly what they
Yeah,
play, or do you see it as a different set? I think 4-2-3-1 would be
yeah.
safe
Four
to
two
say.
three one. Yeah, yeah. For
Yeah.
Ozzie up top.
So in
Herb,
terms of personnel, of course, the goalkeeper is probably a bit
yeah,
more easy to do.
Hermanson, but he's
Hermanson.
not been as good. Hopefully, he's not good on Sunday either. But he's not been as good recently
Oh,
as he was in the first part of the season.
yeah. Yeah, he's been a bit up and down. I've seen him make some sort of calamity
Yeah,
errors
some
as well.
crazy errors, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah, so he's a bit of a. I know it might be a reflection of the defense because they've been quite inconsistent as well. So
yeah.
we're very interested to see what version of Hermanson turns up this Sunday.
Mm.
On the right side, Pereira, I think would be the safe one.
Probably,
I think he played in the
probably,
last fixture, didn't he?
probably James Justin will play
You
right
think
back.
Justin will play on the right hand side? Who do you think will
Yeah,
play on the left
just
side?
Luke Thomas
Luke
on the
Thomas.
left at left back.
Okay, let's go for Luke Thomas. There we go. And the centre back pairing would be Cody and Coley.
Yeah,
Coley scored the
Cody
last
and
minute equalizer.
Caleb Coley and Connor Cody. You'd think
Cody.
unless Cody gets reprimanded for the handball.
Oh yeah, you're right.
I don't know why
He
they needed VAR. I don't know why they needed VAR for that. It was a blatant handball. You
it was
know what I'm saying?
blatant. Yeah, honestly, some of the decisions they make this season, yeah, you question some
Yeah,
people's capability
it's
of their
ridiculous.
profession.
They're relying on it's lazy, isn't it? Because
Laziness, isn't
they're
it?
relying because they know that even if they get it wrong, VAR will have a look they and then they could
Yeah,
go over to the monitor and change the decision if need be. Like
yeah,
it's
exactly.
ridiculous.
It's so true. And plus, they can blame it on someone else rather than take
Yeah,
accountability
exactly,
for the people
exactly.
as well. So it's very true. Double pivot, Ndidi and some more, I think would be the double pivot.
Yeah. I'd think so. As you
It might
said,
have been
with
Winks,
Winks out.
but because he's not
Yeah,
available, I
if
think
Winks is
they'll
out,
go
yeah,
for Ndidi.
yeah.
I think that would be the one that they'll
The
go
funny
for.
thing
And then,
was earlier on in the season, but it was Cooper that did that when they beat Palace. They played in DD at in the 10, But this is before when this story was there though. When they beat Palace and then Didi did a madness, like he did a madness in
Really?
there.
I don't
Yeah,
remember
when they
that.
beat Palace,
Wow.
yeah. So I thought that they would stick with that, but then obviously because Cooper got axed, we don't know whether or not he would have like in other fixtures tried that a bit more, but
Yeah,
we'll see.
it's crazy. And the number 10, number 4, I see that day.
Mm.
In terms of the wings, McAteer played on the right side in the previous
Yeah,
fixture.
that Casey brother, he needs to be watching her. He's
Mm,
decent. I don't see him. Uh, I see someone coming in for him in the summer.
yeah,
Mm.
definitely want to watch in this fixture because you do see these youngsters turn up. I know when we played Southampton, you saw Dibbling turn up against us as well. So
Off Tyler Diblin, bruv, is a good player, but they want
yes,
50 M's, and I swear he's only got 1 year left on his contract, so that's not
that's
happening, bro.
that's not
It's
happening.
not happening. But
Because I know teams like Newcastle want Dibbling as well, and
yeah,
they will not be willing to spend that kind of
yeah,
pricing. That's way too much. Way too much.
surely 30 is the most that they're gonna
Yeah,
get for him,
30
and
the like even
even
that sounds a bit excessive as well,
yeah,
considering
with a
he's got
year
1 year
left, you
left,
should be
isn't it?
happy to
So
be getting 15 to 20. Mm.
yeah, true, very true. Mavididi on the left hand side scored the
If
other day as well.
uh, this is the
No, you
thing
don't
though.
think he'll start?
Yeah, no, you can put him in, but this is the thing
Okay.
whether or not it's going to be because Mavadidi's been out of the team a little
Mm.
recently. I think he started the last game, but
Yeah, he scored in the last
Daka,
game as well.
yeah, and oh yeah, obviously yeah, he got the first goal.
The first goal, yeah.
So then what you saying El Canus in the 10 or
Yeah.
Daka
I think
because
El Canus will play. Or is Bornote available? Would you think he'd get to
this
start
is
in
the
this
thing. That's
fixture?
what I'm saying. If I don't know
Mm.
what Rude will do because Bonotti, as I was saying recently, he's not been
I think he'll go
consistently
for El
starting.
Canus, and if he needs someone off the bench, then Bornote would be that option. I think he'll
Mm,
go with El Canus. I think that's the one that he's been playing predominantly, I would say. So
yeah,
there he is, El Canus. And then up top, Daka or Vardy?
I think Vardy, unfortunately, who loves to score against us.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, Vardy loves to score against us. I remember that time when he
Bro,
scored that
that brother
crazy
looks like he
goal
can
against
play until
England.
he's 40, bro. The stamina, like, and he just makes them runs. It's just him being on the pitch. Like, obviously,
Listen,
no one's gonna buy him now at this age, but he
yeah,
can still do a thing, bro. Like, the pace is still there, and the runs that he makes, he just drags defenders out of position and whatnot. The guy's a menace, man. You get what I'm saying? Hopefully, he
he's
has an off day on Sunday, though. But yeah.
I hope so. He's on a Red Bull diet. That's his thing apparently. Like, he loves drinking Red Bull. So yeah,
He's having a
it's very
party, mate.
evident in how he plays.
Vardy's having a party, mate.
So
So
that's the predicted lineup. I don't see
I think
two.
at least
Of
I
course,
think at least 9 of those will be right.
yeah. I think Vardy's the one there. You know, he does manage to get these clutch moments against Liverpool, but other than that, I'm not too sort of hugely concerned. They've been on a losing streak because in the last 6 games. They drew the last game, but prior to that, they've lost back-to-back games, so they've
Yeah,
been on a losing streak for quite a number of weeks now. So hopefully, they don't turn into a prime Brazil, as Double D mentioned earlier on, and start playing like it's a cup final on Sunday because that's not what we need. We need to get all 3 points, but I am confident of that happening. So what we'll do, we'll move on and then we'll present the Liverpool lineup.
yeah.
So let's start with it. The goalkeeper, of course, has to be Allison. I don't think there's too many
Man like Becca.
debates
Yeah.
with regards to that. Who would you start at right back? Because you've got
But
Bradley as
Bradley,
option who's come back. You've also got Kwanzaa if you want to play in
yeah.
it. Who would you go for?
And
Or
man
Jones even?
Jones, yeah, these man Jones there, innit? See, in the home game it worked with Jones there, but against Fulham, Jesus Christ, man.
Yeah, it didn't work.
What? That first goal was diabolical. Well, in fact, all the goals were diabolical because they were all
Yeah,
the
yeah,
same.
exactly.
First one come off Jones, second one hospital pass by Robbo, third goal
Yeah,
the way that touch from Muniz, the way he done Van Dijk. Virgil be stronger, man. I would have preferred Virgil to concede a penalty there than let man
true.
flipping score, bro.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think Bradley starts right back, and I can see him scoring or getting an assist as well.
hope so. I hope so. So put Bradley in the lineup. But we've got to manage him as well. I wouldn't want him to play the full 90 minutes. If Trent's not available, then put Quans on
Yeah,
for
to make the
like the
sub.
last
Yeah,
20 minutes or something like that.
they make the sub. This is the thing with sort as well, though, as for next season,
Mm,
he has to trust more players. Whether he
yeah, he has
wants
to.
more of his own signings come in, whether or not Richard Hughes is going to give him that amount of power and control to do it.
Yeah,
Because as far as I know, we've still got like a committee. Though obviously they would have to answer the Hughes or
yeah.
however it's working. Because Hughes is looking to just do an easy job at the moment and just sign people that he signed for Bournemouth. Now, don't get twisted; these players are good, but like, come on, like you're at Liverpool now, bro. You don't have to keep
I know.
shopping in the same place where in the you get me. It's a Marks
I
and
know.
Spencer thing now. You get me? You know what I mean? So,
It's true. Yeah, going
so
back
you
to the
shouldn't be
former
too hard.
players.
But you, look, that did. I want Hato, but um, if it is the case that they will set 45 million for Kirkers, then I suppose you got to do it. You get what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I've been impressed with Kirk, even though I've been vouching for Hatter probably all season,
Yeah,
but Kirk is the more I watch him, I feel like he's so much suited to the way we play. Like
yeah.
he's very similar traits to Robertson in terms of how he bombs
That
down.
that assist
Defensively, I think he's underrated as well.
that assist a few weeks ago against
Yeah,
Tottenham
yeah,
to Vernier, yeah.
yeah,
We don't do the Tavernier thing round here. Tavernier, yeah, and
yeah,
EastEnders thing. That was Robbo. That was prime Robbo.
yeah. That's
The way
prime
that he
rubber.
won the ball, burst forwards, and then whipped across to the back post. That's
Yeah,
prime Andy Robertson, bro. I feel sorry for Robbo though, because don't get this defensively. I've been disgusted in a number of games this season, but he has put in some delicious crosses, and these men not finishing the chances,
yeah,
bro.
it's true.
They're not finishing. Like this is what he's about to go a full season without getting assists for his first time since he's been in the Premier
Is
League,
that
bro.
right? He hasn't got
Yeah,
an assist.
no assists this season. In all competitions, he's
Damn,
got assists, but in the Premier League, he doesn't have one. He does not have one, and I'm
that's a
disgusted because he's
crazy
been
one as
putting
well.
in some balls, and man, I'm missing the chances, bro.
He's got the highest assists in the Premier League, hasn't he, Robbo?
I think Trent bypassed him this
Oh,
season
Trent bypassed him.
because they were
Okay.
level, but because he's not got one this season,
Yeah,
Trent
he'll
must
still
have
be going
bypassed
for
him by
dirt.
a couple now. Yeah,
That's crazy. Do you know what? That's something we has to be highlighted in the summer because our strikers have been poor, and I feel like we've won the league without having a real
yeah.
gunman.
With
Because
keeping things more stability, and then
yeah,
Salah's been the icing on the cake. And obviously, when Salah went off a bit, Gakpo was on fire.
yeah.
But now, for
Then
some
he got
reasons,
injured as well.
yeah, but yeah, then he got injured. But
Yeah,
though he played both games for Netherlands in the international break, for
yeah,
whatever reason, Slot is sticking with the Diaz Jota thing. And the thing is that I'm a huge Jota fan from Wolves, big Jota fan, but
yeah,
it's something about the system where I don't know what it is. He's not finishing the same. When we lost that, we keep on going on about this Forest game because we know how protective we are of the main of Anfield. You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
But the fortress, that was the word I was looking for. It wasn't coming
yeah,
to me there, but you get what I'm saying. But that
yeah.
Forest defeat in the first half, that ball from McAllister with the outside of his foot, Jota headed it straight at Cells. Normal Jota is putting that in there, and
Yeah,
like
straight.
after Van Dijk, he's probably the best header of a ball in our squad, considering
He
his
is.
height. You
Yeah,
get me saying
very
pound for
underrated.
pound. So that was you get what I'm saying. But some of the shot, even in the final against Newcastle, we shanked that shot and it went towards the corner flag.
Yeah,
But
I remember that
not
one.
wanting to
Yeah,
leave because he's not had a bad season at Liverpool yet. He's just injury. Injury doesn't mean a bad season. When he's actually been on the football pitch, he gets important goals, and he's still
yeah.
got important goals throughout the season. The winner against Everton the other day, he got the equaliser when we had 10 men and drew with Fulham. So there's still been important goals. But yeah, I want him to stay. I prefer, as anyone that listens to this podcast knows, Nunes can go. I'll drive Nunes to the I mean, I'll drive Nunes to
Yeah,
the airport, bro. If you know what I'm saying, you can get out of my club. Like my nephew knows, my sister knows. You know what I'm saying, to get like Uruguay and Tasmania, never could go, but keep jarring it. But
yeah,
Diaz, I've got mad love for Lucho, but he frustrates me so much, man. Man has me
yeah,
swearing at the TV during games and whatnot because you could go on the outside and then he cuts back into traffic, and I'm like, bro, like
yeah.
just you get me. So
The IQ is not there because like you've made the space there, like
you've
attack
made
that
the
space.
space, and then why would you turn back when you've made
Yeah,
the space? You've committed the fullback,
head
like
back into
go
the
on the
chaos. Yeah,
outside, like use your left football, man. You get what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like and this is why Cody's done so, because when Cody's good in the air. So if Salah plays that ball to the back post, he'll
Yeah.
head it in. But then if Cody's got the ball, Cody's looking to clip his balls into the back post, and he's
Yeah.
shown been more consistent with his finishing and that as well. He
Yeah.
does have a couple of rash shots. So
Even his crossing is more efficient as well because I feel like with
yeah,
Cody, he knows how to work the fullback. Like
yeah.
he's not going to be easy on the eye in comparison to Diaz, where
No,
Diaz is going to do some flicks and
no.
tricks. But Cody knows what to do. Like he'll know when to beat the fullback and when to hit the cross at the right time. Like
There you go.
with
Which is
with Diaz, I feel like he'll have the space to hit a cross,
yeah,
but then he'll overplay it, and then by that time you've reduced your space and you're not able to execute the right pass at the right time. So
exactly.
yeah, it's
Which
going to be a very interesting summer because I feel like with the players that we've been linked to in terms of strikers, now Isak is obviously the dream signing, but if it wasn't Isak, then we're probably going to sign a young and up and coming striker like a Ekitike who plays for Frankfurt because I feel like
yeah,
he's kind of in that similar ilk of an Isak. So I feel like if you've got a young striker like that, you need to have Jota around the team as well. Like kind of similar to what we were speaking about Joe Gomez not so long ago because you can't have two young strikers fighting it out for one place. Like people saying Delap, who you mentioned last time as well, he'd
yeah,
be
yeah.
good, but
But
I'd
I
want him
only mm,
as a backup or
yeah, that's
under
what I'm
a
saying.
more
I said
experienced option, if that
yeah, I
makes
said
sense.
the lap as a backup.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't mind that.
If we're going to get a Cunha or whatever, because I'm telling you, the way that he ragdolls defenders, it gives us a different option
Sure.
off
Yeah,
of the bench. And Gakpo clipping those ones in back post, this guy he'll eat differently. You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because in terms of the positions, I look with some of Robbo's performances this season. There's no way on earth that Zimmerkas should have been on the bench as much as he has been. But
yeah.
obviously, there's something that he's not confident in regards to what Zimmerkas is doing. Fine, cool.
Mm,
But I want something different in the positions to bring off on the bench. So therefore, I know he's only 23. He can have a season where he's bedded in, where
yeah,
him and Robbo share the time, and then the season after Nori takes over,
yeah,
he will still get picked for Algeria and whatnot. But even
yeah,
if it was the case you're bringing him on the bench off the bench for Robbo,
yeah,
he can dribble, and he's a goal threat. So you're putting
yeah.
something different on. So if you've got someone like Cunha who can play the nine, even play deeper and can link the
Mm,
play and whatnot, if he can sort his temperament out, then if you're taking him off 20 minutes to go, 15 minutes to go, you bring on the lap. The lap is going to run the channels. He's going to
yeah,
be
correct.
physical and get into people because I don't want us to get. But that's why we were talking about Baliba the last time I come on your pod because some
Yeah,
physicality in there, man. I
we
don't
need
like.
that.
Look at the way Newcastle bullied us in that final, bro. I
Yeah,
was
it's so
disgusted,
true.
dude, bro. I was
Bro,
disgusted.
you see how Elliot got dragged to the ground? I don't want my players being dragged to the ground like that.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean? So it's that's some this is what I'm saying. There's so many positions that need to be addressed because with the fullback role, you're quite right in terms of mentioning Nuri because he is a player, and I think that's why we're going for Kirkis because Kirkis can do this as well, where
yeah,
you don't just want a fullback that overlaps. I want a fullback that can do a bit of both. Like he can come inside as well if required. So overlap and underlap at the same time because you will have a winger that goes out wide. And I feel like with Robertson, when he goes infield, he's a bit limited in terms of what he produces. Like he can produce a good cross, but I wouldn't trust Robertson to be inside and take a shot and go because he barely scores. So with a Kirkes or Nuri, they're more inclined to hit the target or even convert in that sort of position. So
yeah.
the fullback position is very important. I think striker as well. We need players that will stretch the defense because it's still a little bit unclear in terms of what striker Arsenal wants. And that is actually a question that was presented to him in the press conference today. And he didn't want to give too much away. His response was, what I want from a number nine is goals. So he didn't really mention that if he wants like
This is
a false
proposed.
nine or an out
Exactly,
number nine.
but you'd think the way in terms of the system and how he has some running across like Salah will drop deep come sometimes you would think he'd want that right nine, but it seems more in terms of the way that the positions you take a Jota, you see Jota take up. He wants a runner, but someone
Yeah,
who can
that's
link
what I
the
would
play as
say.
well. And don't get twisted, Jota can produce some great passes. I remember his assist to when we played the 4-2-4, when we lost 3-2 to Arsenal a couple of seasons ago, his
Yeah.
pass to Firmino when Saliba pushed forward. So John's got those passes in the
Yeah,
locker when
he's got in his locker,
when he
100%.
can thread it, but it seems like he's struggled to
Yeah.
adapt immediately to the slot system, and it's affected his finishing because maybe he's drinking too much. Because some games he's running his socks off, but we need him
It
to
might
put
be
the ball
tactical
in
as
the
well,
goal.
because I feel like with Arnold, I don't feel like he's the type of coach that is he doesn't want his players to take too many risks because once you do that,
Yeah,
you're reducing the chance of keeping hold of the ball. And with Slot, his one of his catchphrases when he first came was "kill them with passes." So for him, it's always about maintaining possession of the ball and not to take those kind of risks. So that's why I suppose I get so much criticism because he doesn't actually take a lot of shots. But I kind of feel like it's been drilled into him where he's been told to not take too many shots, or if you see Salah in a free position, find Salah
yeah,
or
to find him.
find
Yeah,
someone else.
because against Hungary, when he knows that he's the talisman, he doesn't pet to
Yeah.
shoot.
He's got more freedom to kind
He
of do
doesn't
what
get
he
to
needs
shoot.
to do, take those risks because a team like Hungary, they're not dominant teams, so they might need someone like a Sabozza to produce something out of nothing. Whereas Liverpool is a bit more sort of it's more driven into playing a certain way. It's more
Yeah,
sort of premeditated in terms of how we're going to build up and how we're going to kill teams. So is this summer? Look, we keep saying it's a big summer. And I'm not saying a big summer in terms of us signing £100 million players and all that sort of stuff. It's a big summer because there's a lot of areas in our team. I feel like if we can address it, if we can cover those positions with the profile that we know that we need, then we're going to be fighting for titles again next season. Because
oh,
you
definitely.
mentioned earlier on in the show, Man City are going to strengthen. It's going to be a reset for everyone, and I feel like it's a reset for Liverpool as well. Just because we're winning the league title right now, it doesn't mean we're going to go into next season with reputation as we're the champions. We're going to win again. No, you got to press that reset button. You got to start again. You got to forget about this season once you've won it. Next season is a new season. You've got to have that kind of thought process, that mentality where it's like, you know what? That's past now. Let's
Yeah,
move on and try and be strong, try and
yeah,
be better than we were last year. So that's the key. That's the winning mentality that you see from all those teams back in the day that would win back-to-back titles.
yeah.
They don't just live off their morals. They go off by testing themselves, and the teams
But
back them up
but
in terms of acquiring new players. They might not sign two, three players, but they might sign out one or two world-class talent that gives them a different energy and atmosphere in terms of the locker room and all that sort of stuff.
this is
So
what I'm saying. Like, look for
mm,
instance, look, Turkey is inconsistent, but he's still really young because he came
yeah,
in the first year when he
and he
was
can learn
16.
off someone like Salah. He'd be the perfect
Thank
mentor
you.
for
At
him.
the price that he's at the moment, surely you'd right.
Yeah.
This guy's almost showing Fulham and Dortmund in the
Did you
last
see
year
how
to
he played
18
yesterday
months.
against United?
You know what I'm saying? I didn't. I was watching the Tottenham game. What I saw, I didn't think he was outstanding yesterday.
Yeah.
But the
I'm
goal,
a
the
so
finish was the
once
finish
Tottenham
was really
and the
good.
United game. Yeah.
You get me? The finish was the finish was really
Yeah,
good.
the cold finished. Yeah.
Mm.
No,
But
he's a baller. I feel like
yeah,
we need to be
you know what I'm
all
saying?
over him. But
But
we'll see.
is it a case though where FSG? I know obviously we're meant to be doing a predicted lineup, but just looking at
Yeah.
just looking and piecing together the players, you're just getting like I was thinking that, but it might be a
Thing
case where
with
they.
Cherky as well, he ticks all the metrics because you know they're all data driven, aren't they? So if you look at his metrics this year,
Mm.
they're
Well,
like all green.
they used to call him a young fakir, didn't they, when he burst on the scene as a
Yeah.
teenager? So
We never got Fakir, so maybe this
oh,
is
that still hurts, you know. That
yeah,
still hurts. Oh, that was the piece because he can play wide
yeah.
Fakir. He can play
Play as a
inside
10
forward.
as
He can
well if
play
needed.
10, and he did it. There was a
He could play the
phase.
9 as well,
There was a.
Fakir.
I was just
Fakir
going to
was
say there was
balling
a
before
phase
he
at
joined.
Leon. There was a phase at Leon where he was playing false nine, and because
Yeah, he
obviously
was.
he can drop an interchange of people, and then obviously he's going to take set pieces and whatnot. He was doing the thing now. I don't even know what team he's at now. I think is he in one of the Asian leagues now?
Oh, has
Fakir.
he moved over? I thought he was still at
I'm sure.
Betis.
I think he left. I know he was injured for a bit, but I think he left in the midst of
Let me have a
or
look.
coming back from injury. I may be wrong, but I've
You
not
are
seen
right.
him
He's actually
play for.
playing in the UAE.
There
He's
you
playing
go.
for Al Jazeera.
Yeah, and apparently the wages and whatnot, the fee wasn't that high, and the wages weren't that thingy now. Like if we, how old's Fikir now? What 31?
He's
How old's he
31,
now?
yeah.
31, bro. t- t-
That
It's a
one hurts
different
you, I'm not
manager
gonna
now.
lie.
I'd still do it. I'd still do
Yeah,
it, bro. I'd still do it. If he's earned his money out in Asia, you've got your P dash. You said he's in the United Arab
Yeah,
Emirates now. I know he's probably loving life in Dubai, doing shisha with you and
trust
then
me.
being there. But it's one of them ones where I'd still do it. But if not, Turkey, no more than
Uh,
20 million, I'm hearing it being banded about. Then get the deal done, bro. You get what I'm saying?
yeah,
Get it done. Get
Turkey
it done.
needs to be
Because
on top of our tour.
this team with a fullback that gets more goals, because obviously, as we said, Trent hasn't pushed on as much, and
Yeah,
uh, midfielder, someone who can play in the 10 and is going to give
yeah,
us more GA, completely transformed this
facts.
team. It completely
Yeah,
transformed this team. It sounds crazy because we're on the verge of winning the league, but then I mean, then you're challenging on all fronts,
yeah.
and then quadruple talk becomes realistic. You know what I'm saying?
But we do need that type of player. Even if Sabozlai is our number 10, from a starting position, you need a player like Cherky who can come in and change it. That's why we've got Harvey Elliott at the minute, but I don't feel like Harvey Elliott is trusted by Arnold Slot. So
It's
with
weird, isn't it? Because
Cherky,
every time Harvey comes on, he makes things
yeah,
happen. He's
yeah,
always passing it forward. He's very rarely going to go backwards. He can shoot the thread of
yeah,
needle. Look at his ball to Chiesa in the final.
yeah,
With the
yeah,
pass. You get
exactly.
what I'm saying? So I don't know why Slot doesn't like. I'm not happy with the fact that Slot underuses him. That's probably the player that
Yeah.
I'm most disappointed with in terms of
With,
him
with,
underusing.
with Turkey, I feel like with Turkey as well, people, it's I don't mean to be, but I feel like some people kind of go with that stereotypical viewpoint where it's like, oh, he's a North African player. And, because they had Ben Arthur back in the day, like he had that reputation of being, extravagant on the ball, but lazy on the pitch in terms of work rate, all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
I watched him yesterday in terms of how he played. Obviously, I'm going off by one game, but the guy was working. Like he was tracking back, doing everything. So I feel like it might be just like a misconception that he doesn't work hard enough. But
yeah.
with attacking players, they're not supposed to work in a crazy man. Not everyone's a Bosler, right? Not everyone's gonna run around like a headless chicken. For me, what he brings to the table is something we lack, and that take or someone that how to thread that final pass because he's got
Yep.
about 18 assists so far this season. So for me, that is a crazy statistic from a player of his stature. He's still
That's
very young. He's still learning.
hey, that's madness. That's a
But we need to
ridiculous
get him.
amount of complete. Look, if we go hard this summer, and obviously we have to get it right because not every transfer, like the player, like can, gets implemented into the system seamlessly.
Yeah,
We've only lost 2 games this season. We can have the opportunity to get 90. I just want us to get 90 points. It will help me in my argument with certain Arsenal fans that I can absolutely. They're going to get cooked anyway. Like
yeah.
when it's wrapped up, you're going to hear me. It's going to be Nas Ether, Corrupt calling out names, Jay-Z takeover, Ice Cube, no Vaseline, all rolled into one, bruv. Yeah, and any other diss track you can think of, right? But if we get 90, because remember they've got 89 when that's their highest
Yeah,
total in chasing City. I'm going to cook because all this talk about the leagues, not all that and whatnot. We've got 13th and 14th in the
yeah.
flipping semi-finals of the Europa League. You know what I'm saying? Like people are just chatting fart, bruv. Yeah,
No, that's
but
Rugby. It's always that. It's always that notion when Liverpool are winning. Oh, there's something wrong with the league. Like there's
yeah,
something wrong with us.
yeah,
Like you're not. There's nothing wrong with you. We're just been superior. That's the difference. You guys have been dead this season. That's not our problem.
this is
We
our
had a job to do and we've lived up to the job.
think. There
If
you
you
go.
haven't done your job, that's a you problem, not our
Yeah,
problem. So
yeah,
that's
exactly.
something that
Like,
fans
let
always
me
like to put on us.
Tasha in power. It sounds like a
Yeah.
you problem.
That's you.
It sounds like a
I
you
mean,
get
that
me. But yeah,
no,
man.
we did what we set out. We wanted to challenge for the title. If you guys didn't live up to it, that's on you. It really is. So I'm not gonna hear anything from rival fans. We're on the verge of winning the league. They can make up whatever excuse they can say. This is the worst Premier League season. We're winning the title.
Yeah.
That's all I care about. So
It's
for
mad how
me,
one of the top scorers in the league and we're still out here. Like we're not
look at Mohamed
nitpicking, we're not
Salah,
privileged or anything
27
like that.
goals,
Would you get me?
27 goals so far. He's
Mm,
got 18 assists.
yeah,
He needs three more either goals or assists
mm,
to achieve the all-time record, not Premier League history. I think it's English league history.
yeah.
So for me, that is like big numbers, but he's breaking records left, right, and center. But we'll talk about Salah another time because that's one where I don't feel like he gets enough respect. But
No, no,
what,
no.
what,
I thought maybe because man's Egyptian or something, it's an East African thing or something like that.
bro,
The
let's
disrespect
see
is
what happens in
crazy.
the Ballon d'Or. Let's see what happens in the Ballon d'Or. I know we haven't won the Champions League, so it normally
Yeah,
goes to the guy that wins the Champions League. But
yeah.
if he's not in the mix, then there's an agenda. I already think there is, but
There's
it's
a
more clear than day if
yeah,
he's not
yeah.
even like top
Yeah,
five
there's an
in this
agenda
league, in
anyway
my
because
opinion.
we look at the seasons he's had, and he's not even made the podium, bro. He's not even made the podium. And when
Exactly.
Van Dijk
So
made the podium, it wasn't even the season that we won the league.
yeah,
You see it?
it's
It was
crazy. It's
because we won the
crazy that he wasn't
because we won the
involved.
Champions League. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. It's crazy, but we'll let the the agenda's agenda because I do feel like there is an agenda on Salah. Maybe because he's Muslim or he's North African or whatnot.
Yeah,
Like, it's
yeah,
just like it doesn't like he's never been put in that mix to be regarded as one of the best, and he's had such spectacular seasons over the
yeah.
years. You can't just rule him out. But
Do you know why it
there,
was Oz?
mm.
It's because he brought up a Christmas tree. No, I'm playing. I'm playing.
Everyone's been trying to get back into their good books. Like, look, I celebrate Christmas and Eid. Like, come on, put me up there. You know what I mean? So, who knows? Who knows what the case is? But back to the lineup.
Yeah, yeah.
Robertson to start at
That
left.
was a mad 15-minute digression, but it had to be done to
I
get
had to.
all off the
We had to
chest.
just top it up, man. We had to do because when for me, Chucky is the guy. So I really, really pray that we get him.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's go back to the lineup. Robertson, would you say a left back or
Um,
rotation for Simicast?
you might play Simicast, but
Mm.
I think that the safe thing to do is to go Robbo.
Robbo, yeah.
Simicast
Especially because
deserves
we're
it.
not playing many games
And
now,
the thing
aren't
with
we? So,
Simicast as well is that obviously if he's on corners with McAllister, then I see us getting a set piece goal. You know what I'm saying? You should
yeah,
just put, even though we go by position, so obviously you're always going to start with the fullbacks. Just
yeah.
put Virgil in there.
Well,
just
yeah,
Virgil
and of
should just
course,
go in there first anyway. You get me?
yeah,
Yeah,
we
then
got because we got
Ibu.
for Virgil and Konate there. I don't even think we had that many options in it because Gomez is not available,
This is the thing,
and
yeah.
yeah,
And he doesn't seem to trust Quansah, even though
no, it
if
doesn't.
you are looking to keep Quansah, give him a couple of starts to end this season. You get me?
I
Give him
think
a
he
couple
might
of
leave because I read reports this week that there's 6 clubs trying to sign him, and I think
That's
we've
imagine it
valued him
because
at 30 million.
he got the he was the first to get a new contract.
Yeah, he was, wasn't he?
He was
Mm.
the first to get a new contract this season, and yeah, look at that, like
30
that
million sounds
half
low to me, though. What do you think?
30. If he played more games, I would say that we could get more, but will he be used as a mid?
We sold Carvalho and Vandenberg for that much last year.
That's true. That's true. Actually, yeah, yeah.
Mm.
20, yeah,
And he's
25.
been selected for England. He's not like a mediocre
Yeah,
player. Like he is
I
in that kind of
he,
mix as well.
he's looked more confident recently in
Mm.
appearances as well. And
Yeah,
even back in that Newcastle game in December, he did well because that half against Ipswich was costly because he was losing the aerial duels to the lap and whatnot.
yeah,
Come off a half time and then Ibu made us much better in the second half. It
mm.
was a costly half, but
Yeah.
Defo should have got more game time. I still think that there's a player in there, still so young. What is he? Is he still 21 or is he 22 now? Still
20,
so still,
21.
still so young, man. I think yeah, I think he should
He's
have a
20,
future at the club.
turned 22 in January, so he's
Yeah,
just
there
turned
you go.
22.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's
There
got
is a
there
player
in
there.
there. Good on
But
the
I feel
ball.
like because Scott doesn't trust him,
Mm,
I think the writing's on the wall. I think he will part ways this summer.
yeah.
And that could make room for someone like a Huijsen who were linked to it from Bournemouth. So,
But this is a joke though. We could have got Hoysam from Juventus, and this is what a problem with Liverpool
bro,
is.
we don't do stuff like that. You know how Liverpool are. We have these opportunities to sign these players beforehand. We wait for them to rise or they stop to rise, and then we start showing interest. Like we move differently, and I don't get it. Like if we're so tight with our money, why not try and get the guy
The,
on
the,
a sort of a low rate before they
This
blow
is what
up?
I'm
Like that's
saying.
the whole point of
The
using your
irony
scouts.
with the Hoyson thing as well, because they've been talking about this guy since he was like 15, 16,
Yeah,
like across Europe,
yeah,
is that the irony is that it wasn't until Senesi got injured that he even came into Bournemouth side. He was on the bench but he's taken
Yeah,
his chance.
he didn't start this season. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, comfortable on the ball and whatnot as
Yeah,
well.
beautiful
Can
as well.
put,
I've seen him like pass with left foot and right foot. Like he's
yeah,
two
yeah,
foot
yeah,
as well.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
he looks a talent. He looks a talent. Hopefully, we're in for him. That would be an easier deal. Well, I say easier. We're talking about Richard Hughes there, but it should be an easier deal to get done because of his like he's got a release clause, right? So, you know, because I feel like for fans, we just automatically assume that if we're going to target one player from one club, we can't sign two players from that same club. Like
Yeah.
there is no rules to suggest that you can get two players from the same club. So with the Kirkes one, we can negotiate that deal. If Bournemouth aren't willing to lower their demands or their expectations of that 50 million mark, just pay the 50 million release clause. Just do it how it is. So
Yeah.
I feel like he's a player that I feel like he's the next one up in terms of the Premier League. Of course, he's just made his debut for Spain, so I do feel like he's on that trajectory to become a top defender in years to come. And obviously with Van Dijk, who apparently has made a few phone calls to speak to Huijsen as well. Both Dutch speaking because Huijsen's Dutch technically, but he
Yeah, yeah,
decided
yeah. But they
to
they went to
play.
Spain, didn't it, when he was in school, in primary
Yeah,
school. They went
exactly.
to learn it
So
from Spain. Yeah.
there's already that Dutch connection there already. So I feel like he'd be a great player to come in and learn off Van Dijk. And then, he could be a successor going forward. So, that's the logical thing, but Liverpool don't do logical things sometimes. So we'll
we
see.
don't do things the easy or the easier way. There's never an easy way, but we don't do
Nah,
things the easier way, do we?
yeah, it's never logical. It's just the easy route or the minimum. We do the minimum is what I would say under FSG. So who knows? Who knows what happens this summer? Back to the lineup. So we've
Yeah,
got the backline sorted. Gravenberg and McAllister to complete the double pivot.
yeah, yeah,
I don't
yeah,
believe none of them are injured, so they
yeah.
should be starting in this one. And no debate in terms of who starts on that right hand side. So we got with Salah and Szoboszlai through the
I
middle.
think Salah goes. I think Salah goes off on Sunday. Yeah, so beside, I'd love to see Elliot because I think Elliot with the forward passing, um,
Mm,
always thinking forwards, can thread the needle with the pass against this Leicester defence. I
yeah,
think
he'll be needed definitely in this game.
that
Even
that
if
that,
it's in the
that will
second
be
half, he'll
goals.
definitely be needed.
There's always the option to drop side back
Mm.
with his
Do
work
you think
rate.
he has the defensive capability to play that role in the
Oh,
double pivot?
the mid. I think there's always the option for him to play there.
Yeah.
Um,
Do you know what?
uh,
If we had, I think if we had like a proper number six in our team,
yeah, then they would. Yeah, exactly.
then
If there
that'd
was
be a
like a
good balance.
João, yeah, if they, rather than yeah, I hear you. A
Yeah,
combative
like a
six
believer,
rather
for
than
example, because that's who we're literally like a
Regista. Yeah,
believer
Belieber, João
who can hold the
Paulinho,
ground.
something there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you. Then
And then
obviously
suppose
there.
that can be like box to box play, like old school 4-4-2, where you'd get one dropping deep, one going forward. Like it wouldn't be a bad balance. But because I wouldn't classify Gravenberg as a six, I feel like he's more of an eight, but he's
Yeah,
just playing more of a defensive minded role this season. And McAllister is a hybrid. He's a 6, 8, and a 10, so he can
yeah,
pretty much
yeah,
play whatever
exactly,
role.
exactly.
So that honestly, because I'm already hearing reports that we're not even going to get a midfielder, which really annoys me. But we'll definitely speak about that in due course because I feel like number six has to be a priority. I think number six and then number nine is a priority position for us this
Yeah,
season. I really
yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah. I'd say though, obviously, as we said, Robbo's dipped. I think those more than the left back position, which everyone's talking about,
Yeah,
because I think that just changes and it will mask so much because the combative six will minimize
yeah,
attacks from the opposition. And then
exactly.
obviously the nine getting the goals would have put in some of those damn balls that Robbo and Zimmercats as well. But obviously Robbo's the more maligned out of the two. So
Yeah,
putting in it just completely changes things. And then and then you can talk about giving yourself an opportunity to get back to back titles because it just seems like FSG, obviously looking at the last championship win, the last title win rather, I'm just
yeah,
content with the fact that as long as the revenue things are ticking over and they're making profit, they're cool.
yeah.
You get what I'm
No,
saying? So,
I agree.
mm.
I agree. Who would you start at left wing for this fixture?
I think though Diaz scored last game, I think Gakpo. I think Gakpo, if he plays, scores minimum
Okay.
assist. I think if everything's in place here and they go and don't play with any fear, regardless of what happens with Ipswich and Arsenal, because though Ipswich are at home, the likelihood is Arsenal get the result there, depending on how seriously they take it. Because obviously, if advance in Champions League, they know the league is almost done.
Yeah,
So it depends how strong they're going to go, regardless. And I think that there's a few goals. If we cut the nonsense out, there's a few goals in there for us here. But yeah, I'm defo Gakpo. You know, I was
mm,
screaming when I came when we did the pod when I came on here at the start of the season,
yeah,
and I was saying, though people will feel maybe aesthetically that Diaz is better,
yeah,
Gakpo output. And that's what you've got. When this guy starts, he generally always scores
yeah,
all assists when he starts. And yeah, I think Gakpo will give them a lot to think about. And because the thing is, what James Justin likes to get forward. So if it is
yeah.
him that starts, I think the Gakpo, that burst, acceleration, and whatnot, yeah, I see him
Would be
doing
good on
something.
the counter
Yeah,
attack.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I agree.
Cool.
Who starts up top for you? Is it Jota,
Um,
Diaz, or
I,
even Nunes?
I. Do you know what? Though I've said that he could leave, I wouldn't actually be upset if it was to be Nunes just to cause some havoc up there. But I think
Okay,
if it is a case I get my wish and Cody starts, then I think it will be Diaz up top.
Diaz up top.
Though I've
I'm not mad at that, to be
though,
fair.
though I think again if Jota was to start, then again, I think that he would do something constructive. Um, I don't want to curse that. And the way I'm talking here is like I think we could score four, but I'm just saying if we were to get a couple of goals, those players, Salah, that front three. Though obviously,
Yeah,
on paper it looks like a 4-2-3-1
yeah,
will
on paper,
figure.
yeah.
Yeah, then they'll figure in regards to the goal contributions.
Mm. Thing is, the strikers haven't been firing, so it's very difficult to pick the right sort of striker for me because
This is what I'm saying.
we don't
We
know what
could.
you're going to get with any of these strikers, and that's my concern long term as well. We need to get a real gunman next season where we know what we're getting from someone that's
Bro,
going to score.
we could. There is the option like to put Saturday. You know, there is the option
You
to
know what's
put.
funny?
So,
Last year I mentioned this on. I did a like a short video, and I did it on a show as well, where I said
yeah,
Salah could easily play as a number 10 or as a number 9 for us.
yeah, because you
Because
see the
like it
way.
might suit him a bit more because he doesn't have to track back from the
This
byline.
is what I'm
He pretty
saying
much
because you saw with
yeah,
Bradley Dare a natural right footer that can overlap and underlap, right?
yeah,
You saw what Salah was doing to that scales you that West Ham have got. You get what I'm saying? But then
yeah,
obviously when they switched it later, then obviously Salah quieted down a bit. So that is the option. Remember, it was Nunes' first season, wasn't it? When he came off the bench and just kind of
mm,
put himself in like a nine kind of position or a hybrid nine, whatever you want to call it.
yeah,
And then came on and scored that quick hat trick against Rangers. You get what I'm saying? Because Salah's one of them people that the goal doesn't always necessarily look pretty, but he knows what he's doing. So if you get someone that's going to cut the ball across and he's in the centre rather than on the right, like Robbo will do sometimes, or Cody obviously will put balls in, then them's diagonals. He'll be central and like scuff them in and get the goals. You get me? Let's get this man. Let's get this man to 30 goals, man. Let's
trust me.
get
We
this
need to
man
get
to
him
30
there.
goals.
I think he'll do it. I think he will. But
Bec-
even his assist, like the type of passing that he's been producing, like the Trivelas that he's doing this year,
Yeah.
makes it look effortless. Like honestly, like I don't
Yeah.
think he gets respect for those type of passes, you know,
No,
because
he doesn't. He doesn't. Again, because man's Egyptian, he doesn't, bro. Them outside of the foot passes are just like, come on, you know what I'm saying?
the one
The-
last week was sublime
Yeah,
the way he
because
did
it was
that.
actually for Jota, wasn't it? But because
Yeah,
Jota got held
but
up,
ended up going to
Diaz
Diaz, it
scored.
looked even
Yeah,
better.
they ended up going to Diaz, if you get what I'm saying. There is probably better that because with a
Yeah,
defender near him, like Jota is not doing necessarily the consistent finishing that we've come accustomed to. So he might
yeah,
not have even have put it in the goal, you get me? But yeah, man, but Salah is just like I just don't know. If he was from another country, like
yeah,
I just think that he'd be looked at differently. Even some people turned their nose up at Mane. And I remember when Messi won that Ballon d'Or, they asked him if there's anyone else he thought was deserving of it, and he said Mane. which was
Yeah,
actually the Ballon d'Or after that. Brother James Redmond said that Mane was the best player in the world, and everyone
yeah,
laughed at it. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, man.
yeah.
But
It's such a shame that with these. I feel like for these players, they shouldn't really dwell too much on these individuals because I do feel like it's opinion based anyway. So it's not a true reflection of their season. But at the same time, it's still annoying when you see someone producing such a great season and they're not being recognized for it. And that's what's frustrating as well, because they're not going based off that individual's performance or excellence in that season. It becomes a bigger picture where it's like, oh, what did the team achieve? What did like if you win a European title like a Champions League, then you're in the forefront.
yeah,
Whereas like you're not looking at what they're doing domestically and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's very frustrating. And of course, with him being North African, I feel like maybe he doesn't get that respect because of where he's from, and it's discrimination. And say it how it is.
definitely,
That's how
definitely.
I see it. And it's not me making excuses for Salah. We've all seen Salah produce fantastic seasons over the years and not even be in the last time he wasn't even in the top 20 of the
That's
Ballon d'Or.
crazy, isn't it? That's
Yeah,
crazy.
so you can't tell me like that. That's correct. That is wild. So make it what you will. But back to this fixture, what is your score prediction for this encounter against Leicester City this Sunday?
I'm going to be optimistic because sometimes I can be quite pessimistic with my uh, predictions, even though I try as much as possible to never actually say Liverpool are going to lose. Even when I think they're going to lose, I will say draw at the sheer minimum. I'm going to say, if we don't even know not to at the back could keep a clean sheet, I'm going to say 3-1 Liverpool. I'm going to be
3-1.
optimistic, regardless of what happens between Ipswich and Arsenal. Though I'm sure my boy Delap is going to audition for us and help us get closer to the title. I'm gonna go 3-1.
Fair enough. I'm going to go for 3-0. I don't think Leicester
Come
City will
on,
score.
energy. That's the
Um,
energy I like.
and I think we're gonna be dominant because the way I've seen them play in the last few weeks, they look all over the place. If I'm being honest with you, whether it's home or away, they look quite shocking. So
This is the thing, though. They
I
look
hope they
they've,
don't turn up thinking it's a cup final because that would really annoy me as well.
they've looked lifeless, but this is the problem.
Yeah,
We can be in full, complete control of the game and then do
yeah,
something stupid at the back and give them a
yeah. It's
chance.
true.
We do not want to give Jamie Vardy a chance or even the opportunity to cut the ball back for someone. The guy is that he can still do it at his age.
He can. He's
And that's
clinical.
why I can give the opposition a goal that I don't want to.
Yeah,
If we play how I know that we can be,
yeah.
and the performance that we kind of owe the fans this season, especially the away ones, because the home fans have been disgusted at times. Like some of these Anfield games, they're coming like they're in a library. Yeah. So if we play this we can smash these guys. But I'll
Yeah.
just keep it calm, 2-1, 3-1, calm, but we can
It
smash.
might just be because we're on the verge of winning. But I feel like if you know you're about to win the title, should there not be more excitement when you're at Anfield? I don't know. I feel like some fans are a bit more too calm when it comes to that
Mm.
sort of atmosphere, or maybe a lot of fans say that there's too much sort of tourists coming through. But end of the day, we're a global club. We appeal to fans all over the world. So I wouldn't really want to put it on to say, oh, they're not building an atmosphere for us. But the problem is as well, we always say there's a special atmosphere at Anfield. So people come over to witness it. And then it's like when you getting too many people from the outside,
Yeah, because they want to
you're
take
not building
pictures.
that atmosphere if that makes sense, right?
Yeah, they want
So
to take pictures. They don't know the chants necessarily. Don't get
yeah,
twisted. I don't know every single
yeah, me too.
Liverpool chant, but they don't know all the chants, and they want to take
Yeah,
pictures, etc. Because we're in that social media era,
yeah, it
etc. You
is
know
what it
what I'm
is.
saying? They might get paid for their TikTok or whatever they're doing, but
Yeah,
yeah, they need to be louder, man. They need to be
I
louder.
agree. I agree. Especially what we're achieving this year. Like, don't let the rival fans like ruin it or overshadow what we're doing. Because what we're doing right now, look, people predicted us to be outside of the top four at the beginning of
Correct.
the season.
I've
Don't
watched
forget that.
all those BBC people, no one had us winning the league. A lot of people didn't even have
No
us in the
one,
top three. A bag of
no
other
one.
pundits didn't think we'd do it. And then when you watch podcasts, not necessarily from pundits or established people, but just your normal football content, like podcasts like these on your
Yeah,
YouTube, some people will say we'd come as low as eighth. And this is why everybody's crying and they're chatting out the mouth sideways about us because they're little predictions of he sacked to be top scorer and Arsenal to win the league and not coming to the fore.
Yeah,
So that's when they're bitching and chatting crap about us because really they are crying. They're
yeah.
crying, bruv. You get what I'm saying? Because they didn't think
And
it
then
was.
I'm hearing Arsenal fans saying, "Oh, if Saka was fully fit, we won the
Yeah,
league." You've
troops.
never
Look,
been at the
I've
top of
got
the
mad
table
love for
once
troops.
this
The
year.
first time I've got mad love for troops. The first time I even made a YouTube appearance was with him and a
Yeah,
guy, Big J, right?
yeah,
That was for Graham J, the cheeky sport. That was in 2016. That was the first time I even did any form of content
yeah,
creation, right? But he usually, though he dislikes Liverpool with a passion, he usually will chat the common sense. But that was a very Bavs or Thai type of comment
yeah,
because last season he said we weren't all that, and he said that we weren't in the title race, so we were top in April, and then obviously then we faded away, right?
yeah,
Lost to
yeah,
Palace and whatnot. But this season he's saying now if Saka was fit, that Arsenal would be winning the league. But obviously, if it just they've had defensive injuries, we know that. But if it's just a
yeah.
case of the attacking sense that you needed Saka, then that means that you couldn't have been that great in the
We
if it
had a bigger
relied on him
points gap
attacking
before
wise.
that injury
Because
happened.
yeah, because he said that um we're out the FA Cup,
Mm.
we're out of Europe, and we lost in the finals to Newcastle. But all that so that doesn't make us all that. But last season when we were challenging all front, you were still saying we weren't great. So which one is it? You get what I'm saying? So it
Yeah.
is what it is.
No, it's just excuses now. Let's be honest. There's not even
Oh,
just truth.
of
There's
course, of course.
so many Arsenal fans I'm seeing online that are suggesting that sort of notion that oh, it's because Saka wasn't here. But the thing is, you Arsenal have not spent a single day at the top of the
At the top
table
of
this
the table. So
season.
it's not actually been a race, has it? It's not
Yeah,
actually been
they've
a race
not been
because
they've not been number
they've never
one
been
at
top.
all.
Even when his Saka was fit, they were 9 points behind us.
Yeah. So they've never been number one for a single day. So you can't tell me, oh, we would have won, we would have been winning the league. You haven't Brian has been at the top of the table more days than they have.
Hmm?
But early on in the season, do you know what I mean? So
Hmm.
you can't paint that narrative, be like, oh, if that player was fully fit, then we've had injuries. We've not made excuses.
Hmm.
We've had Jota out for months. Allison was out for 2 3 months. Like our goalkeeper wasn't available. Like a lot of players weren't available for us. But
Trent's injuries we've spoken about earlier in the
yeah,
pod. Kanate's been injured. Every outfield player has at least missed a game or two through
yeah. Trent's
injury.
been injured a number of occasions this year.
Yeah, every outfield player has missed a couple of games this season,
Yeah,
apart from Van Dijk and Salah. And
Salah. Yeah,
Gravenberch, Van Dijk, Gravenberch, and Salah. They're the only
yeah.
three. Otherwise, every other player in the starting lineup has
Has
missed a
picked up
couple of
some injuries.
games through injury.
Yeah, and that's part and parcel. So we're not making excuses, and it's just like easy for Arsenal fans to say, "Oh, if Saka." But the thing is, you've signed players to cover his position. You signed Raheem Sterling. It's not our fault he's not lived up to the bill. So that's on you if you're not
Yeah,
recruiting the right players. So excuses will always be made. Whenever it comes to Liverpool, everyone wants to downplay our achievement. For me, look, we'll be lifting that trophy at the end of the season. That's what counts to me. So they can continue to cry for all they want. For me, say what you got to say. We know that we're doing really well. We're hopefully going to end with like 90 odd points because I feel like that
yeah.
will reflect a good season for us
As
this
long as
season
we
as
get,
well.
as long as we get at least 90, bro,
Yeah,
I'm calm.
yeah,
I'm calm. Obviously, the main thing is winning the league anyway. But as long as we get
of
at least
course.
90, I'm calm. Which only means we can afford two more draws
Yeah,
this
yeah,
season, or lose maybe one and win all the other ones. But as long as we get to
yeah,
at least 90 points, I'm calm. That will help. I'm
yeah.
going to cuss people anyway, but that
Yeah, we
will
got to do
help my argument
it.
even. That will strengthen my argument even more. Yeah,
No,
so
it's got to be done. Just got a comment here from Football with Enzi. Says big up, bro. Big up,
big
Enzi, as
up,
always.
Ends.
Thank you for your comment. Thank you for tuning in. And please, guys, make sure you subscribe to Enzi's channel as well. Strong content over the season. And yeah, good friend of the channel as well. So big up to Enzi as always. So that is our match preview segment of Leicester City versus Liverpool. So thank you for everyone for tuning in. We're going to do something a bit different now. If you haven't watched our previous collab, and we're going to talk wrestling because me and
Fuck,
Double D are. I feel like we've become wrestling fans again. We used to watch it when we were younger, but we
bro,
we've shown more interest.
They want the wrestling pod, bro. That's what
You
the
know what?
streets, bro. It's what the
Look,
streets want, man. They want the
look.
wrestling pod, bro.
You know what? We might have to make it happen. So we'll talk offline. We'll see if that's something that needs to be done. We
Negotiation.
can.
Don't worry. These negotiations will be much more smoother than
Yeah,
the
Richard
Van
Hughes
Dyke
is not in
and
the mix, so we'll,
the
we'll
Van
get it
Dyke
done
and
straight away.
Salah.
You're
He's,
not gonna hear Double D
he,
pleading that I really want a pod, and like nothing's really happening. Like it'll happen
bro,
eventually.
He's Pierce Brosnan until he gets his first proper signing in. You get me, to go straight into the
Listen,
starting 11, bro. I mean, Richard Hughes is not a
he's
real
still on
person,
forward
man.
watch. I'm telling you, I'm not. I'm like I've seen people say, "Oh, well done, Hughes and Edwards getting the Van Dyke and
But
Southgate." That was not a well done
all this
situation.
talk about him being multilingual as well. How has that helped
This
us?
guy don't do nothing, man.
Almost a year in the job. Like, how has that helped us, bro?
What's
What's
he
man
done?
doing, bruv? Is he
They
getting
called him the
rejected?
Notebook.
He's
You know
getting.
that's his nickname, the Notebook, because he's got all these contacts. Where are your contacts, mate? Come on, like why not calling up anyone? So look, the jury is still on Richard Hughes in my eyes. I feel like he still has a lot to live up to. I need to see some signings, and I need to see you know good players coming through the doors. Though. So look, I'm still going to have my opinion on Richard Hughes until he proves me wrong. My opinion is not going to change. So
Yeah,
what we'll do now, we will do our WrestleMania segment.
come on. You got all the matches there, yeah.
Yeah, I've got everything lined up. Got the graphics
Saturday,
for you guys as
Sunday.
well. So it's all like
Let's
presented
go.
like it's listening pod. Do you know what I mean? So let's go match for match and let's give our predictions. I know for night one, it's been sort of confirmed that Jey Uso and Gunter will be starting the event.
Yeah.
But I'm just doing the order that I have right now. So we've got the War Raiders versus the New Day. One question before we talk about this: do you think this should have been part of the WrestleMania card, or do you think
This could
the
have
other
eased.
tag team match with Street Profits and is it Motor
Yeah,
City?
to be honest, I think they should both be there. For when it's
Yeah,
WrestleMania,
yeah,
every single title should be
agreed.
on the thing. Like, obviously, because of the fact of how much money Logan Paul brings, and AJ Styles is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time.
Yeah,
But
he's cool. Yeah.
realistically, that could have been on an undercard.
Hmm.
You get me? So,
There
yeah,
still could
yeah,
have made space for it though, because I know night one is 7 matches, night two is 6 matches, but I think Randy Orton might have a match, so it might end up being 7 matches
something
per
what
night. So
impromptu thing might happen there, or maybe Kevin Owens isn't actually injured and this will work.
yeah,
And then they end up having their match anyway. Yeah, but
yeah,
that's the thing though. But they'll find a way to drag it out with commercials and
yeah,
and get me, and it will make it. You won't actually realize that's that minimum amount of matches because it will be 4 hours, won't it? Both nights, so they're
yeah. It's
just gonna
going to be
drag it
long
out.
events. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're gonna,
Because the Royal Rumble was like it was like 3-4 hours as well. So
yeah.
the Rumbles itself were like an hour and 10 minutes each. So and you still had two other matches, so you end up being like 3-4 hours. So, but still, I'm expecting some fireworks in this event. Who do you think will get the win in this match?
Do you know what? I want the War Raiders to retain, but I think in terms of the angle that they're going with the New Day and the fact
Mm,
that, let's be honest, in terms of him um, booking, Triple H is trying to beat the allegations. Obviously, Street Profits have got what
yeah,
they're champions now, but
yeah,
people are saying these things are a seasonal thing. So he needs to be he needs to beat the allegations. So I
yeah.
think New Day will win. And they're doing an okay burst with this heel thing. They started out as heels way back in the day when I wasn't even watching wrestling again at the time, 'cause I didn't come back to it until 2016.
Uh,
But so yeah, I think I'm going to reluctantly go for the New Day. Though I think the War Raiders, they've worked their ass off and they deserve um what's it called? Yeah, they've worked their ass off and they deserve the titles, but all these titles at the moment. That's one mistake I think Triple H is making. I don't think
Mm.
any champion is defending their title enough.
No.
Everything is centered so much around promos for Cena and
Yeah.
Cody, etc., and uh, the triple threat match that you're not
Yeah.
even like the champions aren't even defending their titles regularly, man. You,
Yeah. Because back in our day, I feel like the titles were like were on the line for
all
like
the
most
time.
times, like on the
All the
Raw and
time
SmackDown. So
on a weekly basis, whether it was
mm,
a superstars thing, and then obviously then Raw late
yeah,
nineties, obviously when we was in secondary, then flipping
yeah, yeah.
we started with Raw and SmackDown,
Mm,
and the titles are being defended all the time. It's not happening now.
mm. No, it's a fair point. I'm with you on the prediction that I think it will be the New Day only on the basis that they've made this match a WrestleMania match, so I assume the titles will change hands. Whereas for like
Yeah,
for Street Profits, I think they're going to defend their title tonight, and SmackDown
yeah,
is
on
just going to take
SmackDown,
place.
yeah, and then it's the
Yeah.
Hall of Fame thing afterwards. But there's no way I can stay up for that because look,
Bro, that's at
man's
6 in
got
the morning.
man's got radio.
So that,
That's what I'm saying, man.
like, I might stay up to watch SmackDown after the show, but I'm
Yeah,
yeah, Hall of Fame that might have to be watched on YouTube because on YouTube anyway, so we can watch it
yeah,
afterwards during the day. So I might
yeah,
do that.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think New Day will be crowned the new WWE Tag Team Champions. On to the next match: Rey Mysterio versus El Grande
El
Americano.
Grande Americano. They need to put the viewers need to put their predictions in the comments, man. I
Trust me.
think I think El Grande Americano wins. You know,
You
it's
reckon?
obviously Chad Game. I think he wins,
Yeah,
but he tries to attack Mysterio afterwards, and then
yeah.
Mysterio gets the mask off, and then like we'll see that
Yeah.
it's Chad Gable, who
I
by the
kind of
way,
see that happening, though. Yeah,
Chad Gable instead of Sami Zayn, even though he dropped it to Bob Breaker anyway at
yeah.
SummerSlam, it should have been Chad Gable that took the Intercontinental Championship from Gunter.
Hmm.
In my opinion, you get me. Chad Gable is one of the proper wrestlers
Yeah, he's a good
in the
wrestler. He
thing,
really is.
and it would have made sense for him to have more gold just to show that it's not just all solely like an entertainment figure or selling merchandise and whatnot. You get me? But you know,
Wrestlers use that more or less now, more for entertaining purposes because in the ring, I think he's very, very talented, but maybe they don't quite see him as as a sort of like a champion kind of figure as of yet, which I don't think is correct. I think he should be given an opportunity to have a title run, even if it's like an intercontinental title or something to
yeah,
that nature. So.
yeah, definitely.
I think he does deserve that. But so you're going for El Grande Americano. I think he'll win as well. Even though Rey Mysterio is one of my favorite wrestlers, but I think El Grande Americano will get the dub. Will his mask be taken off? Remains to be seen. But I think it'll be an interesting match.
Because
Um,
it's Mania, I think, yeah, because otherwise, like if it was just like a Raw thing or SmackDown or
yeah,
whatever,
it doesn't
but I
mean
think
much,
because it's
does it?
Mania, you need to have your whoa moments for people to remember
Yeah,
and them
and
to
that will
get.
be a WrestleMania moment, isn't it? If his
Yeah,
mask is taken
exactly,
off. So,
exactly.
so yeah,
It's basically it's a repeat of the whole Blue Blazer thing back
yeah,
in the day with
yeah.
Owen Hart and that.
Owen
Yeah,
Hart, yeah,
rest
yeah.
in peace. Mm.
Rest in peace. Yeah, no, definitely. Nah,
Ooh,
this
ooh,
one's
ooh.
had a bit of a crazy build up, and that is Jade Cargill versus
These
Naomi.
two cook each other on Twitter, and it's hilarious.
Yeah,
I actually think for the storyline,
yeah,
it's better
it
that
works.
Naomi. I think it's better that Naomi wins for the storyline, but
Mm,
I think Jade's probably going to win it.
yeah, I'm. Do you know what? I've been quite impressed with Naomi's Hilton. I feel like she's like taking that role really well. Like you see, like the promos that she's done,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
she's
yeah.
been
Because as she
definitely
said,
working on it.
she's
You know?
always been like too nice. So
Yeah,
obviously her like figuring things. So yeah, I think it would make sense for her to win. But yeah,
you're going for
it's the
Jade Cargill.
worst
I'm gonna
part.
go for Naomi for this one. I'm gonna say Naomi gets the win
Yeah.
in this one. She'll find a way. Whether it's done with a chair shots and I don't know, but I'm gonna go with Naomi to win this one. So that's our prediction. But it's a good match. I feel like this is one of the the matches that has been built quite well in terms of
Yes,
the
yes,
promo around it and the
because
storyline
obviously,
behind it. I think it's done really
yeah,
well.
because Bianca's been involved in it as well.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that I think that that helps. That was a wicked start to Elimination Chamber, which she came and whacked her
Oh,
up. So
that was
you get
crazy.
me.
Yeah,
Um,
and
so
it's
yeah,
got that anticipation where you're intrigued to see who actually
yeah,
wins
yeah.
because
Did
there's
you
a
see?
lot of
Yeah, what?
animosity as well. So no, it'll be good to see this
Oh,
this
man.
encounter this week. LA Knight versus Jacob Fatu. I'm not gonna lie, Jacob Fatu is my guy right now. Like,
I think Fatu wins, but my only problem with it is the sheer fact that LA Knight
mm,
has this will be two not prolonged title runs.
title runs, yeah.
And I think he's the type of person and his character and his promos that he deserves to have like at least a 9 month to a year title run. And then
Mm,
when he loses it, you're okay with it because it's been long. I don't like when
it's been a
people
long time, yeah.
have two like short title reigns, but Jacob Fatu is sick. I'm going to go with Fatu, but I wouldn't be surprised if Solo comes and costs him the match, and then Jacob ends up leaving the
Yeah.
bloodline.
So that's two angles that I'm thinking, man. I think I'm going for Fatu. I think probably because I really like him. I think I think on the mic he's really
Yeah,
good.
he's sick.
Like
He's sick. Yeah, yeah,
he's so
yeah.
good on the
It's
mic.
authentic, isn't it? Because he was in jail when he was younger and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah.
It's authentic,
It's
and
authentic. It's not
yeah,
rehearsed. It's
yeah,
literally,
yeah,
top of the dome. Like whatever comes to his mind, he says it. But the way he executes it as well, I feel like, yeah, he does a great job on the mic.
yeah,
But in the ring, I feel like he's a showstopper. Like you literally are attracted to what he does. Even his finisher, the moonsault that he does, like for a guy of his size, is insane. So I think Fatu will win this match. I do see your point about LA Knight in terms of he's not had a prolonged sort of reign as a US champion. But to be fair, even with Nakamura winning the US champion belt as well, I felt like that was a bizarre decision because
yeah. That
it
was
kind of came out of
yeah.
nowhere.
It does make sense, doesn't it? Because Shinsei won the Rumble, didn't he? Um,
Those
back a
years
few
back,
years
yeah,
ago,
yeah,
but
yeah.
then he wasn't able to win the title. So it just seems
No,
like he's gone. I think he went back. He was in Japan for a
he
bit,
was in
and
Japan
then
for
he's
quite
come
some time.
back. But then flipping, it was like, yeah, give him a title was a form of appeasement, which seems to be the word of the day for me today. Um, and then yeah, and then lose it because that was like a pointless. That was a pointless reign.
It
So.
was.
mm,
It was a strange one, to be fair. Because normally when that happens, maybe because the current champion has an injury, but LA Knight was still active, so it wasn't nothing to that notion. So yeah, bizarre booking in terms of getting him to be champion. But also with the wrestlers that have these type of belts, if they were to sort of lose this match, it could mean that they are ready to be challenging for the next one, which is the world title. But I don't think that is on the cards for LA Knight. If LA Knight
mm,
was to lose this one, I think this will continue to be like a rivalry between the two. But
yeah,
also, I think with Fatu, because you mentioned, Solo might come in and ruin it. But I feel like with him having the title, it might create that jealousy amongst Fatu and Solo, because Solo's never held the title.
yeah.
So it might build like a new
Well,
storyline
on
for
the main
those
card,
two.
he was a champion in NXT.
NXT, yes,
But
but on
yeah,
the
but
main
on the
card,
main
he
on the
hasn't
main
won the
roster, yeah,
title.
no, he's not had a yeah, he's not had a title. Yeah,
He's not had a title, so it might build that kind of animosity, and then you see like a sort of like a breakout of that. It's still bloodline, but it's not like the real bloodline because they end up losing in January when Roman Reigns won. But I feel like Fatu, his rise is continuing right now, and I feel like it should be awarded with a title win. So I'm going for Fatu, and I think
yeah,
you are as well. So let's see how
yeah.
that one pans out. And this is a big one. Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. The build-up has been a bit nuts because impromptu comments uh,
Yeah,
about each
yeah,
other.
it went, the promo went left. The promo
Yeah,
went
but I'm
left,
honest
bruv.
with you. We know in terms of like these things can go a bit off script, but it got us talking. Like it built a bit of heat between the two because I think prior to that they had that altercation where they were fighting all over the arena. It was starting from the
Yeah,
ring, then it
yes,
went to
yes. When they was in
backstage, and
Europe, one
then
of the European shows, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
one of the European shows, and then that built a bit of like steam
Miss
for
TV.
this little promo, and
Mm.
then that impromptu off the script
The
sort of
way Tiffany
interaction.
ducked out, the way Tiffany ducked out through the
Yeah, she
ropes
didn't want
was
any smoke.
hilarious, bro. That's when you knew that was what the telling sign was because Charlotte cooked her um
Yeah, when they did like the
talk
face to
in the
face thing,
promo
isn't it? Yeah,
before it, the week before,
yeah,
again when they were still in Europe. So yeah,
yeah,
you knew that that was kind of coming. So yeah, she's trying to little girl her again. Tiffany, another one. Look how long she's had the title for. How many times has she defended it? It's just weird what
not
they're doing. It's
much,
just weird.
not
So
much.
I want her to retain, but I can't see that. What's the point in making Charlotte win the Rumble if she's not? If it
Yeah,
was an elimination chamber, then you could figure whatever. But I don't see the point of them making Charlotte win the Rumble if she's not going to take the belt. But yeah, Tiffany's reign, hopefully the first of many, because I'm a fan. Because
yeah,
like,
she's talented.
um, I I've realised the storylines continuing from NXT. So even if I'm not going to stay up to watch it, I'll always make sure I watch the replay of NXT because
Mm,
I see how when they put people, they promote them from NXT to the main roster. A
yeah,
lot of storylines continue on. So
yeah,
so yeah,
that's interesting.
yeah,
I'm going to go. I think Tiffany Stratton will retain the belt. I just feel like with Charlotte Flair, even though she won the Royal Rumble, she hasn't really got that warm reception from the crowd because I feel like she's in a bit of a
no.
situation where I don't know if she fully knows if she's a heel or babyface. Like it's kind of a bizarre
Yeah,
situation
it's
that she's
the
in right
problem.
now.
The problem with her is that I think with some of the comments, it's meant to be a heel type thing. Well, she's a tweener, isn't she? She's a tweener, but
Yeah,
it's meant to be more a heel thing. But
yeah,
why? But the thing is that some heels like they will be cheered anyway. But it's one of
yeah,
them ones where what the crowd are sick of is the fact that she always comes back and then she's immediately into the title picture without
yeah,
having to really work for it. Obviously, she's won the Royal Rumble for a second time, but
yeah,
and we I'm sure we both predicted that actually. But
yeah.
it's one of those
We did, yeah.
ones where if they want to see her go through more adversity
Mm,
because she's always in it. She came back um 2 years ago because obviously she got injured at the end of
she got
2023,
injured, yeah,
and then she immediately um was able to face Ronda Rousey, which
mm,
was random. There was
yeah,
no build or anything like that, and then she won the belt. So yeah, it's weird. And
yeah.
yeah, the crowd are
So I'm
very
gonna,
sick of her.
yeah, yeah, because I was watching Pat McAfee. He did a show today earlier on. It was like a build up show.
Yeah.
And when they mentioned her name, they were chanting "F you, Charlotte." So the crowd aren't really with it in terms of Charlotte Flair. So I feel like I think they're gonna go with crowd reaction right now. And I think Tiffany Stratton, her stock is kind of rising as well. I think she's
Yeah,
doing a
yeah,
decent
yeah.
job.
As soon as she came, because of what she did at NXT, because the
Yeah,
funny thing, obviously, they get a bag of NIL
yeah,
athletes, um, uh, and them thing there now.
yeah,
And she obviously her thing was a gymnast thing or whatever. So when she
yeah.
first came in, people were cussing Shawn Michaels, saying he's a pervert and etc. and getting all these women in just because they're good looking. But whatever she did in the performance center, within a couple of months, she turned into a really solid wrestler.
No, but they're
And
talented though. It's not just him being a pervert. They're actually very talented for
yeah,
what they
that's what I'm
bring to
saying.
the table.
She actually turned into a very solid wrestler.
Yeah.
So some thought she was given the title a bit prematurely, but no,
Yeah.
I'm a fan still. I'm a
I
fan
think they
still.
timed it really well because she got the Money in the Bank briefcase for a while, and I feel like it
Yeah,
was timed perfectly in terms of when they gave her the title.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I
That
thought
that
it was done
whole
really
that
well.
whole thingy with Nia Jax and whatnot, I
Yeah, that
thought
was a
that
good,
played out really well because
really well. Yeah,
in terms of the fact of some weeks she was looking like she wanted to do it, but then she made it look
yeah,
like she was helping Nia Jax and whatnot. So yeah, it was yeah, that was a good little storyline. They worked that well. But yeah, just as I said, I've got no problem with these people losing at Mania. But it's
yeah.
just the fact that have them defend their titles more,
A
so
bit
we
more.
felt
I agree.
properly like we're in a mist of a rain with them, rather than like, oh,
Yeah.
they're going to come up, have it for a couple of months, not defend the thing for 6 weeks or 2 months, and then come to an event and lose it. You get me? So yeah,
No,
I hope
you're right.
she
I,
wins,
I
but
think
I
because
think
it's
Charlotte wins.
I think because it's WrestleMania, I feel like for this event, they have to kind of just go with promos to try and big up these matches as much as possible. But I think after Mania, I would like it where they defend the titles a little bit more in the Raw episodes and in
Yeah, man.
SmackDown. I feel like it needs to, those shows need to have a bit more traction, especially the SmackDowns, because I think SmackDown's been getting a lot of sort of negative responses
Yeah,
the crowd in terms of the viewers
because
are a bit less in
because I
comparison
think
to Raw.
one still comes on the USA network,
It does in
or
SmackDown.
yeah, exactly. So the time limit,
Yeah.
they said there'd be no time limits in the Netflix period, but that's not the case. It's not
No,
the
it's not the
case.
case.
You get what I'm saying in terms of the way that it works, and it's just it's all a bit ooh,
It's still a bit mad.
a bit of nonsense right about now. You get what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I mean,
But yeah, let's see how this pans out. So you're going for Charlotte Flair. I'm going for Tiffany Stratton to retain the
I'm on
title.
time.
And
Yeah.
this is the big
I
match of night one.
think we
Gunter
all
against
know
Jey Uso.
though it's not the night one main event. I think we all know what um is going to happen in this match. I was surprised. You predicted it, didn't you? You predicted it
Jey Uso, yeah,
when
Royal
we did
Rumble.
the show before the Rumble. But
Yeah,
I, look, Jay sells merchandise. He's hilarious. You can see that what it means to him. So even when he won the Intercontinental, even though his Intercontinental reign was
quite
a
short.
short one, right?
Yeah,
Um, and you see he gets a bit overwhelmed in that.
yeah,
I just hope that he's been putting in work in the performance center because tag
mm,
team wrestler, he's brilliant. You don't need to have much variety to your.
no,
You don't need to have the biggest skill set to be a tag team wrestler as long as you're in sync with your partner and obviously he's in
yeah,
sync with his twin, and then get the moves on when needed because you're not going to spend uh, a huge amount of time in the ring. You're not going to
yeah,
spend a prolonged amount of time in the ring every single match, but in terms of if you're making it realistic, like for instance, back in lockdown when Drew McIntyre beat Brock Lesnar, right, for the title,
yeah,
Drew said in an interview that he had to push more weights, do whatever, just to look bigger, so it looked more realistic in him beating Brock Lesnar.
yeah. Okay.
Gunter, since he's been in NXT UK, for literally 80% of the time he's been in WWE at least. He's been a champion. So if
Yeah,
Jey Uso, who he's beaten 3 times already, is going to beat him, Jey needs to have worked his arse off to sell
mm,
this to us, the audience, that he can pull out the moves to beat him. Obviously, he had that thing when he hit the ropes on Raw. So then, obviously, then they had him when he was going to attack Gunter slip, but the slip was intentional. The ropes one wasn't, as far as I know, but the slip was a work. And then, obviously, you've had Jimmy slap Gunter, and they've made it into a thing where they're making him scared of Gunter. Gunter's whacked up him, handcuffed him to the ropes, and whacked up Jimmy as well, right? So,
yeah,
sorry, I said before Jay slapped him, but Jimmy was the one who slapped him, right? So
yeah,
then, obviously, that storyline's made it better. And now his latest promo, he said he's not scared of Gunter or whatever anymore, but they need to
mm,
make it a good wrestling match. Otherwise, he's just one off of sheer the hype has pushed him through because he and whatnot, the kids love it, adults like it too. He's selling lots
yeah,
of merchandise. Make it realistic and make it a good pop-up, not even a wrestling match, a wrestling match. And then
yeah.
obviously I can buy into that. Because if not, I'd want Gunter to retain. But as I said, then what was the point in making him in? But like the Charlotte thing, though, I hope that Tiffany wins. What is the point in
Mm,
making him
I
win the
agree.
Rumble if that's the case? You get me? So
Let me ask you a question. Do you see, because there's been a lot of rumors circulating around Jey Uso,
yeah.
do you think there could be a possible heel turn with Jey Uso?
I saw a video the other day. I don't know if I sent it to you or not. That a
Is it
Jay
about
heel turn and it linking it to
The
Cena.
Rock?
Sorry, The Rock. Sorry, they're linking it to The Rock.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah,
obviously you saw the way the Rumble finished with him and Cena, that they'll portray it like as though Cena
yeah.
helped him win for him to get one world title and then Cena gets the other one. Because what we're going to get, my prediction might, some might take a few people by surprise, but you're going to hear what I have to say on Sunday's main event in a minute. You get me?
All
So
right.
yeah.
Okay. So what's your prediction for this one? Who do you think will win?
Yeah, J. I
Yeah.
just want them to do it properly, though. I just want
Yeah,
them to do it properly because Gunter's beat him 3 times already.
yeah.
Like one of them was a squash, if I remember rightly. So it's one of those ones
The
where,
Continental one was quite close though. Like Jay was very close to
yeah,
winning that match, and I think the
one of the
last
contenders,
one,
one of the other matches, like Gunter bullied him, bruv.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because I thought it was just twice, but I remember yes, 3 times. One of the other ones, Gunter
Exactly.
just bullied him, chops and whatnot, just mashed him up.
I think that was the
So
last one, wasn't it? That was that Saturday main event. I think that was the one where I feel like he was a bit more controlled and stuff. So
mm,
it's going to be interesting. I'm going for Jey Uso. I think no
yeah,
surprise. I'm a
yeah,
fan of
Jay.
his.
You,
Um,
you have
and
to,
because
bro.
he's the
You said he'd win the Rumble, so you have to, bro.
I can't be like, yeah, he's gonna lose now. That'd be a bit irresponsible of me. So no, I think he's definitely gonna win. I hope, because it's the opening match as well. I feel like that's a lot of pressure because everyone dreams of being the main event, but I feel like if you're opening the show as well, that's as much pressure as being the main event, in my
Yeah,
opinion. So if he
yeah,
can like set the tone for night one, then I feel like it will bode well for the remainder of
his,
that
his
of that
entrance is going to
the
be
matches
crazy.
for the
His
event.
entrance is going to be crazy. Obviously, again, that
Yeah.
link to The Rock was because obviously Jay's come out with thing, hasn't he? With he's come out with Travis Scott before, and obviously
Yeah,
Travis Scott was there with the
he's
whole
wearing all black
Cena.
now as well, so it's
Yeah,
like a
and
different
them say,
side of him.
yeah, yeah. So
So
yeah, the J thing might be, oh, the heel turn thing might be a bit mad. But I'm sure there'll be sections of the crowd that will still
I feel like
cheer
it's
for
too
him
soon
anyway.
for him to turn heel, but
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. In terms of him with the hype of the Rumble, that is way too soon. But yeah,
yeah,
I
it's
hear
way too
you if
soon.
that
Like
might happen. And yeah,
exactly. So
so they
let's
might
see.
give
So
him
yeah,
his
I'm going
moment, and
for
they might give him his moment, and then delay the heel turn until
yeah,
WrestleMania
exactly.
Backlash, or maybe as late as SummerSlam. You get me? So
Yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what happens. But that's going to be my wild shout that I could see him turning heel. That's just a wild shout, but I expect him to win the title. So just
yeah,
because I feel like the way things are panning out, it could be in the stars, but we'll see. But I'm still going for a Jey Uso win
yeah.
for this one, the main event. Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns versus CM Punk.
Ooh,
Now, who
and
you
yeah,
going for this one?
this is like a custody of Paul Heyman match, isn't it?
Yeah.
The
You know what?
only
I've heard a wild rumor about this match. Can I tell you?
yeah, no, go
I
true.
I don't think it will happen because of what's happening in the real world.
Yeah.
But people say, imagine Brock Lesnar came into this match and just disrupted it.
That would be hilarious. That would be
That
hilarious
would be
because
hilarious, wasn't it? But I don't
Brock
think that
is that
happened.
guy that like is always putting people over. Like he obviously put Cody over. You get
Yeah,
me? With Cody beating him 2-1 in the 3 matches that they
yeah,
had, but that would be crazy when Brock's just
yeah,
said that he's done with wrestling. That would be crazy. But yeah, Brock, that would be crazy because obviously Brock was Paul Heyman guy. So
yeah, exactly.
that would really be crazy to see what would
Yeah.
happen there.
Even
Um,
as a one-off, it would just be a crazy moment for WrestleMania, I think, if that was to happen.
oh yeah, because Mania's gonna pull us. As you said, the Jay Hill turn's possible, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if Lesnar, if that was to happen with Lesnar, because with all the
Mm.
allegations and whatnot flying around, a bit of time's gone since the Vince documentary, though obviously
Case
people
and
can
stuff,
watch it
yeah.
anytime. It would actually, when you say that, it would actually make sense. I hadn't heard the Brock thing. What people had insinuated to me, no one actually knows properly yet, because I don't know if you see the recent interview that Triple H did with, I think
Yeah.
it was with Paul Rosenberg, where he was basically saying that they've got the researchers online. Some people, there was a guy that said that Drew McIntyre was going to win the Elimination Chamber, for instance. So they always are throwing spanners in the work. So
Like
to shock
curveballs.
us, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like when Io Sky beat Rhea Ripley for the title,
Yeah.
I thought, oh look at that. But then before it, they Rosenberg was there. It was after the chamber, and then they were like, oh, Rosenberg was like, he obviously it was an accident. He said, oh, you're gonna face Io Sky for the title, and at that time it was you get me, Rhea was champion, isn't it? So
Yeah.
like you gave it away, but you didn't realize that until after it happened. If you watch it back and you think, oh yeah, you see it. So
Mm.
it's one of them bursts there. But yeah, they're that thing's gonna let slip. But yeah, I want Seth to win.
Okay.
but everything seems to be centered around Punk right about now. And Roman Reigns has done an interview. I don't know if you've seen it this week, and he's basically said that he's looking to quit within the next 2 years or so. He doesn't want to
Yes.
be
Yeah.
taking bumps of that anymore, which is a shame because what Roman has done for
Yeah.
wrestling and the fact that he's not even like he's at every main event has been insane.
Yeah.
And he's the biggest draw. There was a
He is.
Bloomberg interview about 6 months ago
Hmm.
that you should watch on YouTube with him and Paul Heyman, and he's the biggest draw, regardless of any other people that were there. When Roman's going to be at the event, that's when the most tickets are sold. That's when the
Yeah.
most people view it. You get me? So
No, I agree.
yeah.
He's definitely been the needle mover, I would say, in the last few years
Oh,
because
definitely.
that when COVID happened as well, that's when I feel like he definitely was like the face of the company and made it more because that's when I started watching wrestling again. Because when it was COVID, wrestling was the only thing that was on in terms of
Yeah,
sports.
yeah, yeah, yeah. They got signed off, like as what's it called? During COVID, isn't it? Oh, I forgot
Yeah,
what the word is, but like key business or whatever it is that they had to operate because obviously Vince was cool with Trump, so they were able to sort that out. Yeah, it continued on. It continued on, and yeah, that helped a lot during COVID with no football, especially the way that we love football. We were sitting there thinking that they might not even come back. So we're thinking, Jesus,
exactly.
waited since 1990 and then flipping they might null and void the season. But yeah,
But yeah,
it's
he's a
yeah,
good guy.
one of them ones.
So you're going with CM Punk to win this one?
No, let me go with Seth. Let me go with Seth. And then I just want to see what happens with Heyman, but I think that would be brilliant if Lesnar was to come with him being a Heyman guy as well. So then you think that flipping he's gonna go with Brock because Brock's come back, and then maybe Brock helps Seth win or something like that. There's so many things they could do with this. It could be crazy, man. It could be crazy.
Yeah, no, it's going to be crazy. I think regardless, because another rumor circling is that Seth Rollins might turn heel and be part of Rock's sort of corporate group or how you want to call
Yeah,
it. So
that would be
that's
crazy.
in the cards as well.
That would be another shot at Roman.
Yeah.
But these
I
people
see
do
it
not.
happening though. I see. I feel like there's something happening with regards to that because even on the show last week on SmackDown, where he was like pretty much dressed the way he used to dress up when he was part of the Shield, wearing
Yeah,
all black. I think it was Raw
yeah.
actually, where he was wearing all black and stuff. So
Yeah, and then
there's like
he
slight
gave
hints
Roman
that he could go back that
another
way.
chair shot, innit?
Yeah, just like back in those days. So I'm going to go for a Roman Reigns win. I just
Come
yeah,
on.
one of my favorite wrestlers as well. I think he's really good. So.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll be interested to see what happens with the storyline because even if Seth Rollins was to turn heel, it doesn't necessarily need to be in this match. It could be in night
Another
two, which of
match.
course we'll discuss
Yeah,
in more
yeah.
detail as well.
But
So
that's a good thing actually, because if Roman does win, then the Seth heel turn would make more sense. But Seth is so good, the
yeah,
crowd will cheer him anyway. You get what I'm saying?
exactly.
You don't really have the heel thingy face thing as prominent as it was back in the day.
And I
Um,
feel like it'll work. I feel like it'll suit him to be heel now as well.
yeah.
Like the storyline can really be embedded quite well for Seth Rollins. So yeah, that's our prediction there for night
Mhm.
one. Let's move on to night two. Now, this was the original match, Randy Orton versus Kevin Owens, but we've heard that Kevin Owens has had neck surgery, so he's going to be out for the foreseeable future. In fact, I've heard that he's not going to be available for the next 2 years. Like it's a very
Oh
serious
God.
surgery that he's having. So that's not going to happen. But apparently, we'll get confirmation because SmackDown has just started. So there will be a sort of confirmation if Randy Orton is going to have his WrestleMania match or not.
Yeah.
So possible candidates that I've heard being dished around online are these three fighters here right now. So we've got Miro, who has re-signed to WWE. It's not official,
Yeah.
but obviously in the
Um,
background,
is he gonna
he
go
could
back?
be.
Is he gonna go back? I wonder if his name will be Rusev again or
I
what.
think it might be Rusev to be fair, but obviously from
Yeah.
AEW,
Yeah,
we've known him
Miro. Yeah,
for.
yeah, yeah. That's what we'll see
And
anyway
it's
because
the same
they
with
do some different names.
Aleister Black, isn't it? 'Cause obviously he wasn't called
Yeah, yeah,
different
yeah.
names as well in AEW.
I
So
thought the way they built Alistair Black up when he was in WWE last time, I honestly thought that he was going to be a champion.
Really?
Yeah,
Mm,
because he didn't really lose. I'm not sure how much you was watching them when he was in it, but he didn't really lose that many matches. He
yeah,
faced Buddy Murphy, um, and 3 times and beat him 3 times. And I thought they were
yeah,
shaping him up to be a champion, but then I
yeah.
don't know what happened there. He's a
He's
he's a,
very
he's a,
talented. I
he's a
watched
good
him at
wrestler.
AEW
Yeah,
and I feel like he's
he's a
done really well.
he's a good wrestler, man. Mm.
Mm. But that's probably mismanagement at that time. And
Yeah,
with Triple H back, being in charge of creative, it might give him more of a prominent role within the business. So
yeah.
I'll be intrigued to see how he does. And of course, Solo would be the obvious choice, the more logical choice, because they already have some sort of rivalry. So there is like a storyline going into WrestleMania if Randy Orton was to face Solo, because Solo doesn't have an opponent. Or it could be this wild suggestion that has been circulating online:
So low.
Randy Orton versus Nick Aldis.
Yes, that's what I thought was going to happen because obviously Randy RKO'd him. And the
Yeah,
joke is, when I first heard that Nick Aldis was coming to WWE, I thought he was going to be a wrestler. I didn't know that he was going to be a general manager. So yeah,
yeah.
I'd hear that, but you'd only
That would
see
work 'cause
Randy
it's
winning.
kind of on. It's like a one-off, like off the record sort of match. And like because of the RKOs, like it just adds a bit of fuel to this match happening. So let's see, because SmackDown's on right now, so we'll see what confirmation we get. But until then, we don't know if this is going to be an official match. But what it is an official match is the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship on the line with Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez defending it against Lara,
You
Valkyria,
see, you
and
see the
Bailey.
nonsense. You see the nonsense, bro, that I was alluding to earlier. Why is the
Yeah,
Intercontinental Champion in a tag team match against someone she just beat, and her partner
yeah,
is someone she just beat the other day to retain her title?
to
This is what I'm
retain the
talking
title.
about. This is a mistake, man. It's WrestleMania. Every title should be being defended.
Should be on the line, yeah. Because even the women's US title isn't being defended, is it, on WrestleMania? So there's a yeah, it's a bit. I think maybe because there's too many titles now, where they have to prioritize some. That's why I think the Street Profits are defending their titles today. Uh, Lara Valkyrie, she defended it on Raw against
The
Bayley.
commercial aspect is horrible, bro.
I
Because
know
back
it
in the
is.
day, I've still got my old videos from the 90s, bro. Like
Yeah,
WrestleMania, whether it be WrestleMania 7, 8, or whatever.
yeah,
Some of these had 15 matches in, bro. You
yeah,
were
yeah,
getting big, and there wasn't nearly as many titles, but you were getting big matches. Like
yeah,
the opening match of WrestleMania 8 was El Matador. You get me? It was Tito
yeah,
Santana against Shawn Michaels.
yeah,
They could easily have a big boy match, like
yeah,
big boy singles matches to start off. So now you've got more titles. Why would you
yeah,
not have Lyra, even if it's the first match? Why would you not have Lyra Valkyria,
yeah.
even if it's a mid card match or whatever, defending her title? This makes no sense to me. But yeah,
No,
whatever.
no, it's very true. How do you see this match, sorry, panning out between
I think them lot retain.
Retain? Yeah, I think so
I
as
think
well.
them that retain. This could easily have been a match just for the pre-show. It doesn't overly interest me.
No, I think they just had to put Liv Morgan on the card because I think she's
Yeah, because
been
Triple H
spectacular
is
for the last 12
Triple H is
months.
always waxing lyrical about her, isn't he? So
Yeah,
it's a way of giving her a mania match.
exactly. So yeah, I agree with that prediction. I think Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez will retain their titles. Now, this is the one that we were alluding to earlier on, AJ Styles versus Logan Paul. I think it's only been brought on for shock value or viral moment because it involves
Yeah,
Logan Paul. Doesn't really
yeah.
have a great storyline behind it. It's
No,
not a match where I think excites that many fans, if I'm being honest with you. Of course, AJ Styles is a fantastic wrestler. Logan Paul still, a bit in the middle in terms of, getting that respect as a wrestler. How do you see this match panning out?
sadly, um, yeah, sadly, I think Logan Paul's gonna win
Really?
and get booed. Yeah, I want AJ to snap him. To be honest, because I don't think AJ's got too many years left. I want AJ to have one more world title run because he was never in a main event at any pay per view when he was champion, and the pop he got when he won the belt. off of Jinder Mahal the second time. I think I was in
Yeah.
Manchester, if I'm not mistaken, was insane. The crowd
Okay.
love him because he's a brilliant wrestler. But I think Logan wins. He probably cheats or something like that. He's always got brass knucks or something like that. I think AJ beats him up for most of the match, but Logan Paul
Mm.
wins. And what I must say is that though he's annoying, his finishing move is clean. Logan Paul, it looks sick. That little when he twists to them, and
You know what? I
then
like it, you know.
it's kind of cold still. It's kind of cold.
Yeah, it's
Where
cold. It is a
people
cold
do,
finisher.
where people pirate old wrestlers' moves, isn't it? You get what I'm saying? Like the stomp was done before Seth was doing it. Seth
Yeah.
does the pedigree sometimes.
Yeah.
A bag of the women do moonsaults. I mean, that's Eo's finish move and it's Tiffany Stratton's
Yeah.
finish move. You get what I'm saying? But yeah, that's a original thing from Logan still. So yeah, I think Logan's gonna. I want AJ to win. Obviously, I want AJ to win all the time, but I
Yeah.
think yeah, Logan Paul's gonna beat him. Mania and the crowd boo. It will cause more. You get me? That
Mm.
moves the needle more. Logan winning.
Yeah. I agree. I'm still gonna go for AJ Styles to win. I don't want Logan Paul to win, to be honest. To be honest with you, um, but I do hope they give AJ Styles a bit of a push. What would be interesting for me would be with um, Aleister Black returning to WWE. I think he would create a great rivalry with AJ Styles, and they're both on SmackDown. I think that would be a good one to introduce Aleister Black back to WWE.
Yeah.
I think that would be a crazy, right? And to be fair, even Karrion Cross, they had a great match the other day on Raw.
Well, Karrion Cross is cold, but he's
Yeah,
been
he is.
he got axed by Vince. But then
Yeah,
and I thought he was going to be, they were setting him up to do something big. And then
yeah,
Triple H came and then obviously he got brought back, etc. And though he's not been rested that much recently, he's trying to recruit people, isn't he? So
yeah,
someone pointed out on Twitter, and then obviously Karrion Cross told them, yeah, you've done well, you've been watching, is that he any person he's trying to recruit, he does their hair like they do their hair. So
yeah. I've noticed that.
when he's trying to recruit AJ Styles, he's got it out.
I got the
He
same
went from
hairstyle.
the Miz and whatnot to one side and whatnot. So yeah, he's sick.
Yeah,
He's sick still. He's sick still. He's
yeah. I
actually
hope
funny.
he gets a bit more of a push this year. I feel
Yes, he
like
needs to
he's
be a
very
champ.
talented in the
He
ring.
needs to be a champion this year. Get one of
Yeah,
the mid card belts. You get what I'm saying?
yeah. Even if it's like a US title or
Yeah,
Intercontinental, I
that's
feel
what I'm
like he
saying,
needs
man.
to
Yeah,
be
man.
part of that mix again.
Mm.
Yeah, I feel like he deserves that push. He's good on the mic,
Yep.
really good in the ring as well. That match against AJ Styles that happened not so long ago
Very,
was a
yeah,
decent
very
match
good.
to
It
watch.
was a very good match. It was a
Mm,
very good match, man.
it was okay. Logan Paul is your prediction. I
Yeah,
know that's not
who
the
you
approach
going?
you want, but that's the outcome you're going for. I'm just gonna go for AJ Styles. I
Oh,
can't even
cool.
I can't even say Logan Paul to win out loud. I'm gonna
Phenomenal
go.
for
Yeah, I just can't do
there
it.
might be interference in this match.
Do you think it could be carried across?
There might be interference. It might be
Or
cross.
even
Yeah,
Alistair Black?
it might be cross, and then black
Yeah.
comes as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That
I think there's going to
it
be
could be.
interference.
'Cause
Yeah,
that would be a good intro. Because I feel like with, these subtle hints that they've been showing on SmackDown of, Aleister Black's return, they haven't said he's returning. Like with Ray Phoenix, they said he's going to debut and then he ends up making his debut. It's more predictable because he's a completely new wrestler to the organization. But
yeah,
Aleister Black has been in the WWE before, so I feel like it might be a good one to introduce him in this match and then create that rivalry where he interferes and stops AJ Styles from winning. I would feel like that would be a great introduction for him, and I think it'll give that surprise moment that we expect from these pay-per-views or PLEs, however you want to describe them now. So
yeah.
that's my prediction. I'm gonna say someone interferes as well. I'm gonna say Aleister Black is the one that comes in and interferes. That's my prediction there. So let's see if we get that one correct. Next match is for the Intercontinental title. Bron Breakker defends it against Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, and Penta in a four-way match there. How
Bron
do you
needs
see
to
this one?
retain here, but I've got a funny feeling about this match. Again, as well, Bron underutilized. The guy is a star. He's a future world
He
champion,
is. He
and
is.
this is his second title reign. And how many times is he defending the belt? You get what I'm saying? Like Dominic might do it. Dominic might do it.
Bro, that's my prediction. I think
Your
Mysterio
pick
will
is
win.
Dom, yeah? Okay.
I
And
think
the
Dominic Mysterio is
crowd
going to
are
win
going
still.
to boo him out of the stadium, bro. You get what I'm saying, bro? The crowd are going to be, it's going to be deafening, the boos.
But that's
You get what I'm
well,
saying?
that's the
But yeah,
reaction
I
you want.
think
You
Dom's
want
going
that
to do it.
reaction as well.
And this is where the Judgment Day
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
break. You get me? Finn Balor obviously as well, because when I first came back to wrestling in 2016, Finn had just beat Seth Rollins for the first Universal title, but Finn was injured, so he had to relinquish the belt.
Yeah,
And Mick Foley was the GM of Thing at that time.
yeah,
What's it called? Oh God, Raw. He was the GM of Raw at that stage, and
mm,
he said Finn will definitely get a rematch. We are sitting here, and in a few months it will be 9 years since, and he's never got a rematch for that title. And I think that he's been badly booked, and they've just again appeasement. The third time I've used that on the podcast, um,
yeah,
giving him all these tag. He's been like US champion and intercontinental as far as I can remember, but they've given him all these tag team reigns just
mm,
to like keep him sweet because that's a world champion right there. Finn Balor's a cold wrestler, sick music and whatnot. You get what I'm saying? He's okay on the
yeah,
mic, and I think he's underutilized by
yeah.
WWE
That's
personally.
fair.
You
So
get
you're
me?
going for Dominic Mysterio as well? Is that our wild prediction?
Um, yeah, because I think Dom. Yeah, I think
And he's
I've
got a losing streak as well, hasn't he? He's got 3-0 in WrestleMania. He's not won a match in WrestleMania, and I feel like he's the unexpected winner as well. Like Penta's, since he's been brought into the organization, he's been fantastic. Like he's been,
yeah, I had no
doing
idea because I never really watched AEW. I
yeah,
had no idea that Penta and Ray Phoenix were related. I didn't
yeah, the
know.
brothers.
Yeah, I didn't know they were brothers. You get what
Yeah,
I'm
I've
saying?
watched him a few times because I don't watch AEW too heavily, but
Mm,
I have seen him in action for AEW,
mm.
and yeah, they definitely stood out to me. Like just the way they performed,
Yeah,
high risk maneuvers, jumping over top ropes, like they really
yeah.
stood out for me as
There
well.
was
So
there was a discussion. They both got a bit of aura still, but there was a
they do,
discussion uh, on Reddit in a wrestling group. I mean, in Reddit, and they were saying that like, what's going on with like the likes of the Carmelo Hayes and whatnot, and they said that
mm,
yeah, there's just not enough space for them because of the fact that uh, you're signing all these AEW guys, as you said, Malachi and
yeah. But
no,
I'll be honest
sorry,
with you,
Alistair Black. He was Malachi Black in AEW.
yeah,
Alistair
yeah,
Black is not
exactly, yeah,
coming back because Carmelo is an NXT ledge, and I thought the whole point of pushing them up, like we're seeing Tiffany Stratton has got the women's
yeah,
title already, was to push to keep them over because they were saying there's no time restrictions on these Netflix shows, but there clearly is because there's more than enough time for it. Like SmackDown will
yeah.
be 3 hours today, calm. So Raw should be 3 hours as well, and all these people should be getting
They'll
matches,
have to
even if they're
change that.
quick matches.
I think they'll have to if they've got so many wrestlers in their rosters, they have to. And I think they'll be doing the draft after WrestleMania as well, so they'll have to
Yeah,
switch it up a little bit
yeah,
and try and do that. So yeah, it'll be very interesting to see what happens. But I think for this one, I'm gonna because I think with Penta coming in and Ray Phoenix,
mm,
especially Ray Phoenix, because I feel like SmackDown kind of got a bit boring where the matches were quite predictable. He just brings something different to the table.
yeah,
And I think Penta's doing the same. And I'm glad that they haven't brought them on as a tag team. They're both on separate shows.
yeah,
So I feel like they add value on both shows now. So I feel like let that because Penta like everyone's like warmed up to him very, very quickly. Like people like really enjoying what he's doing.
yeah,
And he's like all of his matches I've seen, he's produced some great performances and he's built good chemistry with other wrestlers that he's fought with in Raw. So I
yeah,
feel like that needs to continue. I'm gonna go for Dominic Mysterio. I think he's the one that people don't expect to win, and I
yeah,
feel like it's just gonna create that rivalry between him and Finn Balor, and then
yeah.
you might see Judgment Day, going their separate ways in due course, not straight away, but in due course. So it'll be interesting rivalry between the two. So
I
I'm going
don't,
for
yeah.
Mysterio as well.
This is the thing. I really don't want Braun to lose the title, but because again, he's not defended it as much as should have been the case.
So
So
Yeah. My thing
Um,
with Bron Breakker, I
mm,
think they're gonna push him now. I think he's shown enough star quality to suggest
yeah,
that he can challenge for the big titles now.
yeah,
Whether it's for World Heavyweight title or the WWE Championship,
mm,
I feel like he's ready for that next step. So I think that's why he's not going to remain as Intercontinental Champion. I think he's going to fight for those honors. And look, if Jey Uso wins that match, that's a rivalry that's already got a bit of history. I know they're
yes,
good
yeah,
mates.
good
They're
point.
good mates off camera. They like gym buddies, aren't they? But I feel like they've produced some good matches on Raw. So I feel like that could be a good rivalry for Jey Uso to start his reign as World Heavyweight Champion, and then
Yeah,
take it from there. Where if Von Breakker becomes champion in the next 2 or 3 months, that'll be a good like storyline as well. So
yeah,
I feel like he's
good
he's
point.
he's ready for that step up. So I think that's why it would make sense for him to vacate the title, not vacate, but as in lose the title, and that's why
Yeah,
it's a fatal forward. He doesn't need to be pinned. It's more so if anyone gets pinned, they become champions. So I think that was probably the right way to for him to lose his title rather than it being a one-on-one. Like if
yeah,
it's
yeah,
one-on-one
yeah.
against someone,
Because
that ain't
it keeps him looking strong. The fact that
yeah,
he hasn't actually been pinned or
been
had
pinned
to submit.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. So yeah, I wasn't expecting you to go with the same suggestion there, but yeah, that's
yeah.
quite cool that you've gone for
Because
Mysterio.
otherwise, then Dom underutilized as well. Because
Yeah,
that is what you call a heel. Because obviously, once
yeah,
he got in his mum's face and obviously betrayed his dad and whatnot, the
yeah,
crowd are disgusted by him. So it's
yeah.
one of them ones where, like, if you want to move the needle, you get what I'm saying. Like,
You gotta do that.
this is what you do. You give him one of the bigger titles.
Yeah,
Don't you get me? So it's not the world title yet, because obviously even he got the reception he got when he was NXT champion. Like people were disgusted. So yeah, you put it on him, and then that's someone that doesn't have to be a long title reign.
yeah. It doesn't have to
But
be a long-term
you
reign
get
either.
me?
It can just be a short-term one, but it's just like a shock factor that
Yeah,
he wins it on WrestleMania and he
yeah, yeah,
beats. People thinking him and Finn Balor are gonna work together, and he kind of goes off script and doesn't do that. He wants to
yeah.
do it for himself. So I feel like it'll work for a good storyline going forward.
I'd,
So.
I'd love I'd love for Finn to win it. As I said, I think Finn is a underappreciated guy,
If it
but
wasn't Dominic Mysterio, I would want Penta to win.
yeah,
I'm really enjoying Penta right now. I think it might be a bit too soon for him to have a title, but I
mm,
think his rise has been so good
mm,
since he joined that it wouldn't
yeah.
be, and then he can form like a rivalry with Finn Balor. I think like that would be
Yeah,
a
yeah.
good rivalry
But
going
that's the
forward as
thing,
well.
though. That's the thing again. That would be shock value because, as you said,
Yeah,
it might be too soon for him to have a title. They might
yeah,
just put it on him. Triple H would do,
yeah,
then creative would do something mad like that, and then
yeah,
again, it wouldn't have to be a long title
yeah,
reign for Penta. You get what I'm saying? I mean, remember the days when people used to win titles on the main event, when the main event used to be on Sunday, and then they'd lose it 24 hours later on Raw.
yeah. I remember Chris Jericho losing his title on the next
Yep.
night as well. I think it's a Triple H or something. So it happens. It happens. So you can never rule it
Oh,
out. So
yeah.
that'll be interesting to see what happens after this match. Now, Damian Priest versus Drew McIntyre. This has been labeled as a Sin
Oh,
City street fight. How you seen
oh,
this panning out?
oh. Um, Drew McIntyre has been one of since he came back with Dolph Ziggler. I think it was 2017. He came
Yeah.
back. Has been one of my favorite wrestlers.
Mm.
Sick promos.
Yeah,
Just
he's
always
really
got a
good.
chip on his shoulder. Carried the WWE through uncharted waters, as he said, when he was
Yeah.
champion, two-time champion in the pandemic and whatnot. Um, I'm begging that he gets within the next year to 18 months, he does get a proper title run because of all this nonsense with CM Punk. That's what I said. It's been annoying me because everything's just been centered around CM Punk and it's really annoying.
Yeah.
Like coming to help them at war games and beating Drew in the best of three that they had and whatnot. And he beat Rollins like Punk gets just annoying, bruv. Yeah, I'm saying. But the thing is that if he was more like agile, whatnot, but he's stiff, he's past it, Punk, and you're centering everything around him. I need to see a performance that convinces me. You get me? I know he's had some
Mm.
injuries and whatnot, but it's just like, and I saw this stiffness when he was in the AEW, to be honest. Um, so yeah, but I want Drew to win, but probably someone will get involved and Priest wins. But yeah,
Okay.
I want Drew to win. Obviously, there's no disqualifications because it's a street fight, is So yeah, I see
Yeah,
people get involved. It's not coming to me immediately who that would be, but yeah,
that'll be interesting to see who interferes in this one. I'm hoping this will be like one of the talking points because with street fights, you want it to be outrageous, you want it to be outlandish in terms of what they do, what how they sort of execute the match. Because I'm expecting them to be in the crowd and doing all kinds of crazy moves and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how this one ends. I'm going to go for Damien Priest to win as well. I think he'll just have the edge on Drew McIntyre. But it should be a good match. I'm excited to see this one. So it'll be interesting to see how this one ends.
yeah.
Now, the triple threat match between Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, and Bailey. Yeah, Io Sky is pretty much getting pushed out the way every time. Rhea
Thi-
Ripley and
this annoys me in it because you've had Bianca win the chamber, yeah.
yeah,
So she should have a one-on-one match. Rhea lost to Io, but yet
yeah,
has worked her way into this match. I hope Io wins, but I think Rhea Ripley's going to win, which is going to annoy me. I love all three women, yeah.
yeah,
Um, but Rhea's annoyed me recently, acting like a spoilt brat
yeah,
recently, and Bianca is just good at what she does. But I
yeah,
think I want Io to retain, but I think Rhea wins and Bianca goes heel, and then we're really going to see Bianca Belair because when she was a heel in NXT, she was cooking everyone. She was phenomenal on the mic. You get what I'm saying, buff? Because Bianca is pissed off. Yeah, you've
yeah.
won the chamber. You went to get your one-on-one match, and you're involved in a triple threat, and Rhea's got in there by doing what? So you get me. But Io
Mm,
has been the best in the women's wrestler in the women's division for years, and I want her to have that long title run because her last title run was booked poorly. This one here, how
mm.
many times has she defended it? So I
Not
want her to
once.
retain. You get me? I want her to retain,
Yeah,
bruv. It was just the
I think
once,
she
did
will
it?
retain.
When she faced Rhea when Bianca was the guest referee.
Yeah.
That's the only time she's
Oh yeah,
defended.
yeah, you're right. Yeah,
That's the
but
only time
that
she's
just felt like
defended. It's
it's part of
nonsense.
the promo, isn't it? It was just part of the works, isn't it? I feel like
Mm.
because she wasn't going to lose the title on Raw just before WrestleMania. I just don't feel like it was going to
Yeah,
work. But I think Io Sky retains the title. I
yeah,
think there's been too much sort of emphasis on Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair. So I feel like
yeah,
because she's kind of like, even though she's the champion, she's been looked at as the outsider because she's getting pushed out of the way, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. But
I think she'll retain the
why are
title.
people booing Bianca though? They should be booing Rhea. Rhea doesn't deserve to be in this match, but they boo Bianca.
Mm.
I thought it was a racismo thing
Rhea Ripley's just a
because
fan favorite right now. I think it's
yeah,
just her stock is quite high. Where
I thought it was a racismo thing because
mm,
in Europe they were booing her, so I thought, oh, it's just people being racist. But she in America she's getting booed as well. The joke is with
yeah,
Rhea is that how many opportunities is she going to get? Look how many times she faced Liv Morgan and lost before
yeah,
winning the title. They're going
yeah,
like
that
they
got a
haven't
bit
got a
boring as well. They kept on facing each other, so I'm
they've
glad
gone
that
a-
they
they've
kind of
gone a
moved
lot.
on
They
from
haven't
it.
got a brilliant women's division there, and you've got the same person fighting Liv for the title. It's nonsense.
Yeah, it's very true. But let's see how this one goes. I'm gonna go for Io Sky win.
Come on, Leo.
She'll retain the title. So let's see how it goes. The main event: Cody Rhodes versus John Cena. So give me your take. How do you see this one
Bro,
panning out? Are you expecting to
some
see The Rock make an appearance in WrestleMania? That's
someone
the big
but
question.
one boy I know called Ants, yeah, put it
Yeah.
forward, and I'm gonna agree with him, bro. This might be a squash. This might be a squash, bruv. Like they're gonna be long entrance music and whatnot. Cena might even talk a bit afterwards. Cody's gonna
Yeah.
come out. Yeah, it will be telling to see what happens today in the last thing before Mania.
Yeah.
Because I believe Cena's scheduled to be on there. It started already as
Yes.
we're recording this, but obviously we're wrapping up soon.
Yeah.
I think John Cena wins, and I don't even think the match is going to be 5 minutes.
Really?
Yep, I think it's going to be a squash job, and Cena wins, and then Cena's going to hold the belt for a few months, whatever it is, and then he's
Yeah.
going to have because he's not going to go out a heel, is he? With everything he's gone through with the fans, he's going to have his moment, his epiphany or whatever, and then like he'll be good again before in his farewell tour. But yeah, I don't even think it's. I think something happens, referee, whether Rock comes or whatever, and like if he kicks him in the balls or whatever, attitude adjustment, ting done, bruv. thing done. And you'll know by how long the entrance takes. And obviously, we're clock watchers because we've got sleep to think about. Yeah, we've got things to do on Monday morning, bro. So
Yeah.
therefore, like we're going to be clock watching. So it's going to start at 12, right? If this
12,
match
yeah.
does not, if this match does not start before 4 o'clock,
Yeah.
wrap.
I'm gonna have to nap during the evening that day to try and make sure I stay awake because
Yeah,
yeah, it's gonna be
because
a long night.
it's the thing. The basketball playoffs
Yeah.
start tomorrow. So I'm
Okay.
gonna have to sacrifice a match because if I don't power the
You
age
might
I'm at
be
now,
doing the day
if I don't
before.
power nap, I'm gonna fall asleep during Mania, and I have to watch it
Yeah.
live. I have to watch it live,
You're
bro.
gonna have to power nap. You're gonna have to have a power nap, honestly, because
Get what
yeah,
I'm
I have
saying?
to stay up for that as well. But I'm a bit 50-50 on this one. I'm not sure what to make of it. I feel like it's gonna be like a cinematic sort of ending to this match. So, with us suggesting that possible people might turn heel, I think they will be involved in this match in some shape or form. So I'm kind of expecting someone like Seth Rollins to turn heel and have an interference in this match. I think John Cena wins the title. I want Rose to retain it,
Mhm.
but I can see John Cena winning it for some reason. And I
G-
think
G-
there'll be another surprise. I don't know what it is, but I feel like there might be another surprise. Maybe, maybe a bit crazy, like maybe Seth
Maybe Jay.
Rollins and Paul Heyman
You said the thing
together.
about Jay. Maybe Jay gets his moment on
Yeah.
Saturday, winning the title and eats with the fans, which is what
He
everybody wants to
interferes.
do,
That's what
and
I've
have
been
a big
thinking all week
party.
as well.
And then remember, he's tight with Cody, despite of
Yeah.
all the bloodline things. So
Yeah, yeah.
imagine this Jay that costs Cody the match, and then
That's
flipping because him and Cena were the last two in the Rumble.
it's
They're
not a
both
wild
there with their
shot.
titles at the end with the Rock there. Imagine,
Yeah. It's not a wild shot because I've been thinking about this all week in terms of how they'll end this match. And if it is Jey Uso, like he's got history with both, right? 'Cause obviously he beat Cena in the Royal Rumble.
yep,
Obviously, he's been a tag team champion
tag
with Rhodes.
with Cody, yeah,
So it'd be kind of like the unexpected that will happen.
yep,
I think like this is another wild shout. So obviously you can tell we've got creative flow right now. I imagine it being like Seth Rollins and Jey Uso coming together, and then they end up completing the Rock's group because Rock does those hand signals where it's like three, two, and then one.
yeah,
He's on two right now, so that means there's
yeah,
two members
yeah,
remaining as part of his super group.
yeah.
So it could be Jey Uso, and it could be Seth
and
Rollins.
and then so then that means Jay going against his brother again, and then
Yeah,
that sets up
because it
Rock,
creates more storylines if
and
that
then that
happens.
creates Rock v Roman for
Yes.
WrestleMania
Or
42.
or SummerSlam, because the SummerSlam has a two-nighter as well, so
Yeah, no,
they'd
no,
wanna do
Rock
something
Roman,
big.
they've got to save that for Mania. They've got to save
Yeah,
Rock
that
v
that one's
Roman for
definitely a
Mania.
Mania
You
one,
get what
but
I'm saying?
it could be like, a Mania, a sort of a SummerSlam event where you're involving Rose and Rollins or Rose and Jey Uso for a title, something like that, where it would definitely, have a different kind of personnel when it comes to these big main events. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna go for Cena win.
Yeah, see the win
Cena
to
win,
break the record.
but it's going to be interesting. I'm excited about this WrestleMania. I know some fans have kind of said that it's not lived up to expectations,
Yeah,
but look, until the event
some
doesn't
people aren't
happen,
amped, bro. Some people aren't amped, you know. They're not
yeah,
amped. They think it's been dragged out too long, and they're only looking
yeah,
forward. They're only looking forward to the triple threat because of the Heyman part,
the factor,
and
isn't it?
yeah, they're
Yeah,
not really. Yeah, they're not really on it, bro.
yeah. No, I'm still excited about it. I think because last year's Mania, in terms of the way that ended, that's probably like the best endings of a match I've seen in wrestling history. Like the way Cody
Oh, with
Rhodes
all
won
the
the
different
title.
people coming out, yeah.
Yeah, it was just like beautifully done. So I'm hoping we're gonna get something like that where it's gonna be like, oh, shock factor, like Elimination Chamber. That was a shock factor when Cena turned heel and you see Travis Scott slapping Cody Rhodes and all that kind of stuff. So it's going to be an exciting event. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure you are as well today. And yeah, that is the end of our show. Thank you so much for tuning, everyone. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Double D. Appreciate your time as always. I know I promised you we'll do a quick show today, but when we talk football and wrestling, we can go on for hours.
Throw the ones up, yeah, always, bro. Always, it's cool, man. It's cool. Anytime, bro. Anytime. As long as I get like at least a couple of hours of notice, so I can set out
Yeah,
the day, man. Will
yeah.
get me. Yeah,
We'll
man.
have to talk about the wrestling pod. It might have to be, it might have to be done. We'll talk
Absolutely.
about it
Yeah,
off air.
even
But
even when it's a time that we know that we can get adequate sleep in, even like a watch along,
oh, yeah, that'll be
a
serious,
watch along together and whatnot as well.
Yeah, that'll be
Yeah,
serious.
because at first I was reluctant about this whole Netflix era coming, but it
Yeah,
actually has worked out okay because
yeah. I'm enjoying it. I'm not
you're
gonna lie
not
to you.
paying like there's no W, no W cheaper than having the WWE network and
Yeah,
whatnot. Because I could only certain times I have to look at like the outgoings for the month whether I was going to get it or not, and
yeah,
yeah, it's allowed me to keep up and watch as many
yeah. I agree.
pay-per-views as yeah as possible,
Yeah,
man.
because we don't have to pay for it now, so it comes as part of our package.
Mm.
So yeah, it should be good.
Yeah,
But yeah, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for tuning, everyone. Take care, stay safe, and we hope to speak with you all very, very soon. Goodbye.